So here's basically what it is.
We are not experts. We don't feel like experts.
It's a bed made of just 100% rape.
It's a goal. Like, it's fucking... I don't know, like, I want to bite it.
I don't know what a critic's job is for.
Some people just want to take everything from me, is all I'm saying. And I'll never forget chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Chocolate. Holy shit, this is fucking beautiful. This is fucking genius.
Pay me so that I can complain or praise this game.
It's not like, oh, you know... I'm not trying to make excuses for something I like. I don't have any defense of this. It was just beauty.
From there, an addiction was born.
It's a sweet story. It's really funny. It's really cute. And it's, like, age appropriate. Thank you and good night.
Downloadable conflict. Two assholes babbling.
Welcome to a very special episode of Game Fun. I almost said Game Rant.
I know.
That's fucked up. That's how much it's in my head.
Yeah.
That's how fucked up I am
It's
now.
it's the Travis and Brian Fun Time Hour with Brian and Travis. And
a very special
and
guest.
A very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm me. I'm Brian's girlfriend, Felicia. Hi, everybody.
You don't have to qualify yourself that way. You're just Felicia.
You're more than that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of
You're a
course.
person too, which is
Why
what
does it imply that I'm only that though? But it's just a way to tie myself into the show.
You started with that. That's all.
It's just a way to tie myself into the show.
You're all racist.
Racist.
Yeah. So we're all huddled around this one microphone tonight. Ironically, I say that because when we filmed our last podcast, me and Travis essentially agreed that while we wanted to talk about sexism,
It just wasn't interesting enough.
it's just not it's such a... We both agreed that it was like, people know that sexism is a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Well,
they're working on it. I'm sure they are.
You know, like that's a thing that developers throw in, but gamers are like, you know, they roll their eyes at that shit.
Yeah.
And then we read an article on a site I also ironically made a joke about being paid by to mention. I couldn't have possibly dreamed that literally the next day that I made a Game Rant joke that I would be basically motherfucking Game Rant. We read an article about Booth Babes, and if you want to check it out, here comes a plug. You're welcome, Game Rant, for the extra 3 people.
Also, fuck you.
Yeah. Just go to GameRant.com and in the search bar type in Booth, and it's the article is entitled "In Defense of Booth Babes," sort of.
Which I don't know what that means, but
basically the gist of the article is about how Booth Babes are. If you don't know what a Booth Babe is,
first of all, the issue with the Booth Babes.
Let's explain what a Booth Babe is first.
Oh.
Because that's what makes us good radio people.
Hooray! A Booth Babe is...
A Booth Babe is a girl who's hired to stand in a... Okay, I can't do that anymore. It's a girl who's basically hired to be pretty. It's mercenary tits, essentially. They stand in a booth, they wear pretty skimpy outfits, and they don't know shit about the product they're representing. They just smile and pose with
this is
cave
most
troll
cases.
nerds.
This is most cases.
Yeah.
If you've ever... I mean, I grew up going to little conventions and stuff. I never went to an E3, but I've been to a bunch of conventions. And if something's big, then you have a bunch of hot girls just standing there wearing the sign, basically.
And it's omnipresent, and they're just...
It's just an accepted thing, basically.
They're everywhere. And it's kind of a problem if you happen to be a girl who wants to be taken seriously in the industry. And that was kind of what the article is about. I think what the main point of the article was originally is the author was trying to say that this was just the cause du jour of other journalists in the recent weeks.
They were saying it's a fad. But we also have to mention that at the newer conventions, it's becoming, like, for instance, PAX, the Penny Arcade Expo, like...
Yeah, well, let me finish my thought first. And then we'll get to that. Basically, what the article was trying to say, or the conclusion was trying to come to, is that journalists who bring up Booth Babes as though the world is ending are just trying to gain attention for themselves, and they're insincere. And that is a fine, valid point to make, especially if it's true. However, the way he went about this argument, in the process, he drew a lot of... he questioned a lot of stats that any person reading that can easily think, well, what the fuck is your problem with girl gamers? I thought that. Travis thought that. Felicia, did you read the article?
Yeah, I did.
And did you think that?
I didn't even think it was like a diss at girl gamers. It was like the writer seemed like he was grasping at straws to debunk this argument.
That's what I got. I got the feeling that he basically heard a stat, looked into it, and then felt like the brilliant detective when he found out that it polled 2,000 people. He's like, this whole stat people know about girls being so many gamers, well, it like can't be true. And it's just like, okay, I guess there's no girl gamers then,
right?
His
or
argument
not a lot.
that the sample was too small to represent 300 million people could go either way. It could be more than what the statistic shows, and it could be less too. But
it
you know,
almost certainly
it's not,
couldn't be more.
Yeah, exactly. Why is that true?
That was where I immediately got mad, because that doesn't matter. If there are 10 female gamers and 4 of them want to be in the industry, and we're affecting them in this way with booth babes who do nothing, they accomplish literally nothing. It's still a problem.
True that.
The actual quantity doesn't matter.
I want to add something to that. You know, that was brought up a lot in the comments section, this whole thing where it's like, you know, how many people can we offend? And then we said, well, even if it's 10.
Yeah.
But let's say, for instance, there really are 8% female gamers.
Which they're not. There's way...
There's more. There's
way more than that.
There is more. But let's pretend it's like 8 or 10. So 1 in 10 gamers. Sympathizing in the female direction isn't the same as sympathizing where it's like someone, you know, you go to like I walk down Berkeley and someone's like, I identify as like transgender, blah, like I'm female.
I like the surfer
call
voice.
call me the shim. But you know what I mean? Like Yvonne went to like a really liberal arts school and she told me there's like, and then or
get your cisgendered politics out of my face.
Yeah, and like I'm all for like the LBG T.
Sure.
Yeah, but this isn't even the same as that, because no matter how many girl gamers there are, we're still talking about 50% of the population or more as women.
Right.
So they're not the
So even
the
if
minority.
they're not gamers.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We still have to not. Yeah,
I'm on the same. Yeah.
I thought that was really embarrassing that they were just like, you know, there's just like, this is business. It's like we can't. There's just not that many girl gamers to offend. Well, it's like, well, how many just women are there? Like women surround us. Women are the other half of life. So
is this what we want women to think gamers are?
It was incredibly weak.
Yeah.
Like you said, you didn't want to have to. You know, the most important people in your life. You have your sister, your mother, your girlfriend. These are women. We can't just pretend that's not important.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. You know, that's really a great point, actually. I didn't even think about it that way because I was too busy getting angry at the idea that, well, there's barely any... There might not be that many women gamers. And...
Guess how many women there are.
I read the article and went, and a lot. Like, what are you trying to get me
they're
to draw
just
as a
throwing
conclusion?
contrary things out.
You know,
what sticks.
I'll give the writer of the article the benefit of the doubt. I don't think that half of the feelings I got were feelings that he wanted me to have when he wrote it. I think that his mind was on a very specific track, and I think that in some cases he was just really careless with his wording.
Yeah, he was. And I think, remember, he also established a tone right off the bat that he didn't even want to acknowledge there at Game Rant with their great articles that they don't acknowledge fad things, and he was treating it like that the whole booth babe thing is just a fad now, like almost like going green is like a product fad or something. Like it's just,
and it's a really sticky wicket to bring up the. I love that phrase, sticky wicket. It's my porn name.
I hope more things are sticky wickets.
Yeah, it's really, if you're going to make an article, and I'm going to say this because I immediately, with 3 seconds of research, was able to verify this. If you're going to make an article about journalistic integrity, you need to be very fucking careful with how you word that article. Because as a guy who is trying to, promote this view or take apart this journalist thing of, are booth babes... I'm not a sexist, but... And that's not exactly how he phrased it, but this same author... His previous posts are just pictures of booth babes. There's no text on game. If you look under his name on Game Rant, there's pictures of, we're about to talk about PAX because this is going to segue into that. You remember the Jessica Nigiri scandal?
I actually don't.
She's the chainsaw lollipop girl.
Oh, yeah. She was asked to change twice.
And it wasn't a news story. It was just a picture of her tits, basically. It was just a picture of her cosplay photo with no accompanying text.
Oh, wow.
And if that's a failure of the site, like the site accidentally removed all the text, then so be it. But listen, I typed your name, and within 5 seconds, I saw a gallery of booth babes, a giant gallery that the site sponsored, and then also that. So you need to be... I'm not going to tell you how to be a journalist, but I'm just going to say I made that observation with a quarter second of work. So, yeah. Let's get to the PAX thing, because I think that's really important.
Yeah.
PAX does not want booth babes at their show. PAX does not have booth babes at their show. And, the few fucking errant titties that do get in there, the aforementioned Jessica Nigiri thing, get locked down really fast.
Yeah.
There's really not a whole lot of wiggle room for that at PAX. And I think that has a profound effect on the experience of the convention.
Yeah.
I've never actually been there personally, but I can't tell you how many stories I've read by males and females about how the vibe of that place is very inclusive. That it's like, this is like...
interactive,
this
too.
feels like as close to a gamer home as a convention can
I hear that a lot
feel.
I hear that a lot as
and
well.
honestly, there are a lot of elements that create that feeling.
Yeah, it's not just the girls.
One of them is the fact that you don't have tits pressed against your forehead every 35 seconds.
Yeah.
Anytime you see a graphics card, you see a graphics card and the graphics it can make, which is really the only relevant thing about that product.
Yeah, but as I brought up on Facebook,
but anyway,
every graphics card has a babe on the box.
Yes, on the box itself.
And that's part of our game. That's part of our culture.
Absolutely.
That's really bullshit. Another thing people need to keep in mind also is PAX is a private event. Yeah. So there was a little bit of this like crying for freedom of self-expression thing, like to censor how somebody appears is to censor their way to express themselves at the convention, and that's like absolutely true. But you have to understand that it's not public. It's not a public event. This isn't like a thing in the park. It's like PAX is a private convention. It's a private event, and especially when the two guys now are dads, they just have their own way of doing things now.
And
so you just respect it or don't.
They justify those
take
things
it or leave
like,
it.
hey, listen, I'm not saying in your whole life you can't do this. I just don't want you to do this at my house.
And I'm definitely on the side for wearing what you want to express yourself.
Sure.
And I'm not offended by breasts.
No.
But I totally sympathize with the fact that they have control of this, and their dads now, they just their definitions of what they think is a comfortable environment has now changed as fathers. So you just have to take it or leave it. So 10 packs or don't.
Yes, freedom of speech is something that.
But it's not a Nazi fucking whatever thing.
And we'll break that down a little bit further, because what this podcast is about, believe it or not, is not even the article, but about the comments in the article, because it literally gave us a heart attack. But before I get to that, I just want to say that I'm a huge freedom of speech person. I mean, Felicia can tell you, I don't shut the fuck up about freedom of speech. Anytime a story that's tangentially related to freedom of speech comes up, and I get the
really
feeling
upset
of it's getting stepped on, I get really emotionally upset, really fucking fast.
I'm actually more of a censorship person, when I compare myself to you.
I'm a censor gulp person.
I don't know, I'm pretty liberal about that stuff, but I mean, even I'm don't cry fire in a theater, and you're like, do it!
Yeah. Yeah. That being said, and I just want to make this point in regards to censorship to saying censorship at PAX, I'm a huge free speech person. I don't say cunt in my mom's house.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's
I
about having
think that's
taste.
reasonable.
Yeah.
It's do I have the freedom to do it? Yes. And maybe that makes it a bad example for PAX because you don't have the freedom to throw your tits out. Well, I guess you do, then you'll be removed.
You face the repercussions of your actions.
That's not real freedom, though. People will step on freedom by saying that exact thing, like, "Hey, you're free to say fuck you, but then you gotta face the consequences," and that's like their pussy way of saying that you have freedom of speech when you don't. All I'm saying is there is a line that the individual should have to draw for themselves. And there's no way to legislate that line. It's you should raise yourself to that level. But I made a list, and Travis is getting ready.
I like.
He's emotionally getting ready.
This is
I
the
made
part
a
where I
list.
start screaming.
Yeah. Ah, fucking shit.
This is the part where we all start screaming.
I read
And,
this as a girl, just a female reader and a female gamer, and I could not believe that this was 2012. And I couldn't believe that I had left a Muslim country only to hear the exact same words.
Wow.
Yeah, why don't you give him a little bit of
Yeah,
like,
why don't you talk
history
about you
Oh.
for a
So,
second?
Leia, let's explain your perspective as a human being, so you can, when you
Okay.
say what you felt, that will be communicated to the audience,
Yeah.
where they'll be like, "Oh,
Yeah, okay. So, it's inarguable that I have faced a lot of discrimination as a woman and as a non-Muslim person living in a Muslim country. I'm from Malaysia, and I've lived here in America for 5 or 6 years now, and it's very different, definitely. So when I read that article, it kind of brought me back to that place.
right, you're
Where-
from a country where basically the laws cater to men who can't handle."
Yeah, basically
Their
the
love
rule
languages.
is that, women are so sexual that, it's their fault that they're this sexual and we
Yeah.
can't control ourselves because they're so freaking beautiful.
Right.
Therefore, you must wear a burqa and you can never expose skin. It's your
Right.
fault you're so sexual. It's your fault for being who you are. And
Yeah.
that's just unreasonable.
Like you're almost like a trigger hair, like away from just
Yeah.
being too sexy,
Yeah,
like in
exactly.
destroying
and
minds.
if a woman is raped, it's her fault because she was what's the word?
You're the forbidden
You're-
fruit. You shouldn't have existed in front of them. You're too tantalizing.
Yes,
Yeah,
tantalizing.
tantalizing and then there's
yeah.
titillating.
We're just walking freaking fruit waiting to
Yeah.
be devoured. It's basically the viewpoint of a Muslim country.
And that's your life. You grew up
Yeah.
in that life.
Basically, yeah.
You grew up as a piece of fruit to be ashamed.
Yeah. Oh, and here is how bad it is. Like, how over here in the shopping malls and any sort of complex, the closest parking space to the door is for handicapped people.
Yeah.
In Malaysia, it's for single women. It's not like single in a relationship kind of single, but one solitary woman because it's so commonplace that women are raped in.
Yeah, there was an Anthony
public.
Bourdain thing on that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, there's a lot of things sectioned off, like restaurants.
Yes,
like,
yes.
like women in McDonald's will have like a women in their children's section,
Yeah,
so you
yeah,
don't have to be around the
absolutely.
boys.
Yeah.
Like they're constantly separated because, like you said, they're just tempting. Any moment a woman is alive and there's a man alive,
Right.
the woman is just tempting the man. So there's all these things. So the woman can eat by herself, so men don't have to be around them.
Yeah.
Men are constantly keeping
So
themselves
it's
from
like
raping
smoking.
women.
Precisely.
It's like smoking, only your crime is having a vagina. It's like smoking in this country, where we segregate smokers. Like, oh, you can smoke over there, or you can smoke.
Well,
you-
that's not
no,
even
like,
comparable.
we're-
We're not even doing anything. We're just being.
No,
who
it's-
we
Yeah,
are.
yeah, that's what
You
I'm
know?
saying.
It's
We
more like
didn't have
having
a
a black
choice.
section
You know what I mean?
because
Yeah.
white people are
Yeah.
an
That's
ass hair away
exactly
from
that.
beating up a black
Yes.
person all the time. So like, can we not look at you? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Because seeing your face just makes me want to pummel your face. So
Right.
black people have to go somewhere else. That's
Yeah.
just ridiculous.
like you can
Right.
be here, but please have like your half of the restaurant.
Yeah.
That's shittier.
Right.
Precisely.
Now that we've established and
How
we-
much fucking real life
Yeah.
you've lived.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
you come from
And
a country where they have to write laws to lower rape.
Yeah. But that's
That's a reality. They have
Pretty
to
much.
write laws to bump the stat down just a little bit.
take this
pretty much.
We're
And-
going in.
And what's even worse, women are blamed, really, really, truly blamed for
Yes.
rape.
Well, I'll tell
You
you,
know-
judging from the commenters in this section, they would blame you too. because
Absolutely.
That's
It's
totally where these
completely
assholes
my
are going.
fault.
So that being said,
What were you wearing that night?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh.
So that being said,
Were you being an asshole? With,
yeah.
with your tits out?
Yeah,
What were you doing?
You weren't
They're
wearing
the kind
a
of
burqa?
people who their first question is, "Well, what did you do?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
What?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay,
Shit.
so that little rambling preamble that we've set up for the past 17 minutes now, aside. Oh, you want to close that? We're
I'm
recording
just
on a
making sure
laptop.
it's not one of these things that's going to restart my computer for the update,
That would
and
be
that
awesome.
would be fucking shitty.
That would be fucking awesome.
Haha! Okay.
So that being said, without
Okay.
any further ado, I'm just going to read to you.
Can we read them
and
all in
this-
Mickey Mouse voice?
I'm gonna read them. I'm gonna read them in creepy Mickey Mouse voice because that's the only laughs we're gonna be getting tonight. No. You don't get to look at them yet because I want you to react.
I want to read them.
I know you do, and that's why you can't. These comments are not the thread quickly spiraled out of the subject of booth babes specifically and into the subject of just pure sexism and all of the myriad justifications or denials of sexism. And oh boy, were there many. If you can hear this, this is 2 pages. before I stopped writing because I couldn't fucking read it anymore. So I'm going to just read some of the logical, hilarious loopholes. Some of them completely contradictory and by the same person. And
It's
then,
happened a lot.
And then we will react because that's what we're here for, to be angry
I'm ready.
in my apartment. Okay,
Let's
so
do
are you
this,
ready?
huh?
Okay, so are you ready for creepy voice?
I'm ready.
There aren't that many girls, so offending them isn't that bad.
There aren't that many girls, so offending them is not that bad.
So where do we start with that besides fuck you?
There aren't that many gays, so I'm
Yeah,
not
fuck
offending
'em.
them when
Yeah.
I say faggot.
Yeah, there aren't that many minorities.
I actually
so...
brought that up and nobody addressed it.
Well, yeah, because they don't. You think they don't respect
that's
women?
right,
You
yeah.
think they respect gays?
Yeah. They were they were basically what they were saying was, yeah, there's not enough women for us to just like turn heel,
Right.
from the business aspect. I said, yeah, but this is about moving forward because having good taste is justification enough
Yeah.
from changing to more tasteful positions. And I said the new evolved opinion these days that are generally accepted is now we defend gay rights. There's a lot less gays than straights.
Right.
Sure.
And the joke is, like I said earlier, there's 50% women. We're not even
Yeah.
talking about,
Yeah.
1-8.
You summed it up perfectly earlier. It doesn't matter if there's 2 women gamers. There's 180 million women in this country.
Well, in the defense of that article, though, they were sort of addressing the fact that
The
some...
article writer didn't say this.
I know, but like the journalist that spoke out about Booth Babes and how she felt about it was basically saying it's bad for business to
Right.
have Booth Babes because it's discriminating against
Right.
your women demographic.
Yeah,
That's
you
true.
know.
You never know how many female gamers we would have.
exactly.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
an unmeasurable stat. The money
Exactly.
you didn't make. It's impossible to know either
Right.
way. So to downplay it is what a corporate guy who's losing money does.
Well,
Like,
right.
of course it's like a little boy's game. That's what video games are seen. It's like a boy's toy.
Yeah,
But that doesn't need to be that
because
anyway.
it's still
Right.
1985.
But
right?
the article also
Yeah.
states, though, that they did ban, E3 did ban Booth Babes in like 2006 and 2007 to no effect on the market. No effect. So
Yeah.
why is it even back?
Yeah, here's he brought up that point as if to point out, like, look, we got rid of them for a
Right,
year
and
or
banning
two,
didn't
and
do
the
shit,
problem
right?
didn't go away.
Right. But it
Yeah.
didn't cause
Like, that's
any
what
problems
makes
either.
problems go away.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we took a step, and it
Right.
wasn't all the steps.
They're not
Right.
missed.
Right.
And another thing about E3 is that it's a little bit harder to get in. John has been in, and Brian Kim has also been to E3. Those are the only two people off the top of my head I know
Right.
who attended E3.
Right.
And maybe the people who would actually put in the extra effort to attend an E3 or fly or drive to it might be boys.
Right.
So if it's a boys club atmosphere, maybe more boys are going to go. Maybe that's why
Right.
the statistic wasn't like a really drastic change as far as like.
Yeah.
And what was the
it takes,
statistic measuring
it takes
again? Money?
time.
Was it?
For which one? The 2006 ban?
Yeah. What was it measuring?
It basically said that business did not change at all. There was no significant increase.
As far as I know, E3 is
I
a
think
show
that's
that
a-
is about showing things, not about selling things.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be
It's
a more.
like, look at it's basically the, hey, investors, keep giving us money because we're making this.
Yes.
I think that shows more than anything that the women aren't affecting anybody's decision making. They're just kind of always been there. If they're gone and business doesn't change, that doesn't support bringing them back. That actually
No.
more supports like the uselessness of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, it does.
It means
Yeah.
that you could never do
Yeah.
with Booth Babes what you could do by doing nothing.
Yeah. I can't read in creepy voice because
That's
it's,
fine.
it's
Please
too
don't.
much pressure.
Yeah.
And it needs to be more clear. If your feelings are hurt, it's your fault for misunderstanding us.
That
Whoa,
was
I
a
can't even-
fantastic one, by the way.
I
When
can't
I
even-
read that, I said, thank you so much for
Yeah.
dictating how I should feel.
Yeah.
I guess
Based
you're
on your
retarded.
actions.
Yeah, thanks
Woo!
for thinking for me.
Exactly.
I can't even touch that one. I don't even know what to fucking say. Okay. All right.
There'll be more that will have you equally dumbfounded.
Yeah.
These are things that people.
I don't even know
really
where do
should
they make-
stress this.
Yeah.
I made this list of things that people said, and I honestly don't think it was trolling. I honestly think it was. These are guys because I know these guys. They've posted on. They've commented on articles before. Well, I've never seen Alex before, so maybe he's a really huge troll. But the other guy, I've seen him before. He's not a troll.
I don't think
like-
any of them are.
I don't think
I
so
really
either.
think that the anonymity, the fact that like a woman is not standing right there when he says this, enables him to When no one is like looking at you
Yeah.
doing something, you feel like you have more liberty. You know what I mean?
This always happens, even on the Something Awful forum, and there's a lot more intelligent posters on the Something Awful forum. Like, the arguments that a lot of those guys gave actually would have gotten them banned by moderators, just for being so embarrassing. If someone on Something Awful forum will miss the point and bring up something, or just sound like a fucking asshole, they'll ban you,
gone,
they'll
yeah.
write it, and they'll be like, thanks for being an asshole, try again next time. And, but even there... Anytime you have a topic that gets kind of heavy, like this, what sexism, it always comes back to the same thing. There's 3 or 4 guys who will try and over-intellectualize and go on at great lengths how women have it coming.
Yeah, we'll get to the Greek.
This happens all over the
Greek
internet.
philosopher asshole in a second.
There's a couple more people other than him that were trying to kind of go in that
Yeah, but
direction too.
he takes the fucking cake.
Of course, yeah.
You get all the cake tonight, Alex.
He's the whole Chuck E. Cheese.
all of the cakes.
All the cakes, all the pizzas.
So yeah, I love the undercurrent of misunderstanding of what the problem is when you tell a person, well, you just didn't understand what I meant to say. There's no awareness of, oh, I have no idea what the effect of my words and actions are. Is that fair to say?
Sure.
When
Yeah.
someone tells you, listen, you're mad, but that's not what I meant. That's just what you feel.
Okay, and you know what? That's all right. But when somebody else is telling you, "Well, this is what I get from what the message message that you're sending out,"
Right.
you shouldn't say, "Well, you're at fault for misinterpreting my
Right,
actions
right.
or what I'm saying."
If someone misunderstands
It's a
you
cop-out,
and they're
right?
not
Yeah.
being obtuse, if you're having a real conversation with someone,
Yeah.
not a fake conversation where it's about winning, which is what people on the internet do,
Yeah.
but a real legitimate conversation where you're standing face to face with someone, if you say something and they literally don't understand what you're saying, it's a communication fault of yours.
Sure.
And then you would go back and go, well, this is what I mean, and break it down. And if you break it down for a person 25 fucking times, which is what I fucking did,
Yeah.
and they're still going,
Socrates.
I want to talk to her. It's
not a big deal. But I like boobs. I can like boobs. What the fuck? That's a big thing too. But I can like
being
boobs.
obtuse.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I was trying to be real. I was mad, absolutely, but I was trying to be real. And the stupid fucking the internet posture. I hate internet posturing. It's the realm of cowards. Of just yeah. That is what I hear your fucking voicing. So I'm just please wait.
Which will just be them arguing that you're not listening anyways. That would be the counter. It's always a fucking counter.
Here, what's another one? I don't even know which one to read because they're all
You can
so
just go
fucking
down the
angering.
list.
Men can be stereotyped too, so
Oh.
you should get over it.
Okay, yeah, and
And
Your point is,
yeah. Well,
then
what-
I guess it doesn't happen to women.
right.
Yeah.
So
Right. Oh, yes. Men occasionally fall into a realm where they have like 5 minutes of uncomfortability. That's just like living an entire life as a woman, where it's happening on a near constant basis. Maybe near constant is an exaggeration. I don't know. I'm not a woman. I can't speak for women. I don't try to speak for women. I know enough to know that what I can't see doesn't mean it's not there. It's like radiation. You know
Sure.
what I mean? It
But-
exists.
what exactly would be an example of a male stereotype?
I don't even know.
A Ken
'Cause
doll
that
or
was the
something.
A
vagary.
Ken doll?
That
Like,
was
I
the
don't know.
vagary of it. I guess you can look at a guy who has a six-pack and go, he's probably not very smart because he goes to the gym. But like, attractive men are treated differently than attractive women, even on that level.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, an
Attractive
attractive
men are
man
treated with power.
has to be attractive and dumb before you put him in that bracket. A
Sure.
girl just has to be hot.
so yeah, to get
Like
shit
an
on all day
attractive
long.
guy, you're
A
like,
lot-
wow, that guy's attractive. And then he's like,
But
surfing is my soul.
the
and
thing
you're like,
is, though,
okay.
like, a woman doesn't even have to meet any sort of criteria. As long as she is a woman, she is already discriminated against.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what stereotype she is.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. Nothing matters except that she's a woman.
Right.
Therefore, come to your own conclusion.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. So I don't know what you're trying to accomplish there. You know, it's like saying to a pile of brush, well, if fire hits me, I burn too, so what are you complaining about? They burn differently. One burns a lot more. You know?
Another contradiction, like, someone was bringing up was, like, saying... He was saying something along the lines of, like, men can be sex objects too, and it could happen at E3, and then what would you do? And then I wanted to say, well, earlier on, everyone was complaining about how there's no women that matter anyway, so it would never happen. Like, it was it was a false point to bring up, because if there were men at E3 in banana hammocks, then E3 would be just too gay.
Yeah.
They'd be like, this is really faggy. Like, it wouldn't happen. Like, obviously, it is the boys' club.
Right. All of these guys who like, it's not a big deal, would be going, what's with all the cocks?
Yeah,
Right.
they'd be really fucking upset for ruining their boys' club atmosphere.
Yeah.
So it would never happen.
I want tits.
There is no female equivalent to this at all. I
No.
can't think of a single
There's
convention
not.
where there is just a bunch of hot studs walking around.
Right, but
Yeah.
that's the baseline male failure. They just try to equate it, but they don't live in a world of sexism.
Right.
I've been through my entire life, no one has ever been sexist against me.
Yeah.
It just hasn't happened. I'm sorry. I'm not that old. It could happen, but how many times will it happen, realistically speaking, in my life?
No.
It's not going to happen that much.
Nope.
I'm a heterosexual white male. I just don't face a whole lot of discrimination. And I get that helps beget the view of, discrimination, what? But when someone fucking tells you, listen, dude, I'm a woman. My whole life I deal with this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you tell them, no you don't, because
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you don't, you've never been...
But the thing is, like, they're not even willing to accept that we have two very different perspectives.
No.
Like, as a man, as a woman, right?
Yeah.
They can't even accept that those are two different things.
It's mind-boggling to me. It's fucking
So
mind-boggling.
Yeah, until men can really accept that a woman's life is completely different than a man's life,
Yes.
nothing can actually happen.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So should I go down to the next one on my list?
Sure.
This is
We're
gonna
losing
make,
Travis here.
This is gonna.
I-
He's so pissed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting so, like lightheaded.
Yeah.
I'm, like, falling asleep.
Travis-
like, you know, you're
Oh, I
passing
know.
out. I'm like,
Reading the comments made me want to go smoke so badly.
Yeah, Travis looks woozy, like he has
Yeah.
to hibernate
Yeah.
because the winter has
Yeah.
become too unbearable. And I'm about to make it a little bit colder.
great way of
I'm
putting it.
gonna read the next one.
This is a cold winter, man.
Yeah, wait, hang on a
I
second.
feel very alone and I'm shaking.
It's about to get a lot colder. Here on, let me get close up on the mic. Some girls do it, so all girls should pay.
What?
This applies to girls who are basically being skanky.
Oh.
The rationale is there are some girls who can trick guys with their pussies.
Right.
So every single girl should be treated with suspicion.
Oh.
This is the part that the
This is the Muslim
erudite
thing.
erudite came in and was like, you know, the fact that you can't handle,
Yes.
like, this is a very deserved reputation. The
I
fact
will
that, like,
call a good friend of the show, Eru.
yeah, and because someone else is saying basically, like, it doesn't matter, like, you break it down, men want to fuck every girl they see, like, sorry, that's how we function. And then he came in to say,
And he went, yes,
no,
that's how men children function.
yeah, actually,
Yes.
men don't.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
like
Actually, I'm a man. I don't do that.
like I said earlier, I'm the biggest pervert I know. I will say up and down, I'll admit it to whoever I want. I don't
Yes.
care. It's my boss,
Yes.
my mother, my coworker, the internet.
Yes.
I'm a pervert.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
But I don't want to fuck every girl I see. I'm
Right.
not like a lot of guys I know.
Right.
And I don't. And if I went to E3, and I've been around like booth babes and shit, and they weird me out. They just weird me out because
Right.
I see even chicks, even when they're hot first in my brain, and it makes my
Yeah.
wiener jiggle like a little bit. I still see people.
Yes.
So when I see them being awkward and fake all day long, I'm like,
No.
like they're
Yes.
here. Like that's really weird.
And,
They're here.
And Arrow said exactly
It's
that.
for
He's like,
man-children.
It's true there's no accounting for good taste, but to say that all men see girls, any girl that can be fucked, any girl, we can even stop that for a second and just say hot girls.
Yeah.
To look at all hot girls and you immediately cannot repress the desire to want to fuck them is not reality. It's not reality for an adult. I'm
Yeah, it's
sorry.
not.
It's a reality for you because you're a man-child.
Yeah.
I've gone through my life seeing a
Billion,
million
yeah.
hot girls.
Yeah.
And I've been attracted to many of them. Many of them I've not been attracted to because it's a multi-dimensional thing. It's not just about how pretty your fucking frame is.
And it's also
Like,
just
Ah!
Yeah.
It's also just moving on and having girlfriends and making more deep relationships with the women in your life.
Yes.
These things start to roll off your brain after a while.
Yes.
They just like you get over certain stuff to a degree, and that's I think part about becoming an adult. So
Yes.
when you can't repress this shit, then you're frozen in a 15-year-old mind state.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that when you see women in power sexually, whether it's them physically or the way they behave, maybe they're really smart, maybe have a lot of confidence, or they're really hot.
That's
It's-
what's sexy
It's a
to me.
combination of all
Right.
three. They get weirded out, and they don't want to admit it because they think they're smart.
Yes.
They train themselves to think they're smart.
They're
nerds.
threatened.
They're threatened, and that's how I felt when I was 15 of smart, pretty girls. When I was 15, I was like, they were too cool. Like
But
and then they grow up into that shit.
but there was no resentment
no,
because I had that feeling.
no.
But-
When you're an adult, you develop resentment.
But I was
that's
like
the racism, the sexism
exactly.
that develops in the adult
When you're a
life.
child, when I was a child,
Yeah.
when we were children, when I
We
saw a
were
hot
babes, yeah.
girl, and my definition of hot was I'm attracted to. That spans an amazing range.
Yeah.
This is part of. There's no accounting for good taste. I'm kind of throwing myself under the bus. I can be attracted to a girl for a million different reasons. And all of these girls, I had the universal feeling of, because I was a fucking kid who had no confidence of, I'm never going to get this girl to like me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't angry at them ever. I was just sad that I couldn't make myself be good enough. That was the only feeling I had, and it was a powerful feeling of like, man, they're on a fucking level that I can't reach.
Yeah.
Because all of these feelings I have that I'm barely containing, and they can like look at me and talk, and I'm like, hi, Danielle, you know,
They can talk.
and they can like have a conversation with me while I'm basically losing my shit. That was my childhood.
But imagine growing up into that. Like, part of that is still the adult you. Like, that would be...
That was part of
that's
growing up,
powerlessness.
was growing out of that.
Well, yeah, but
I
a
had
lot
to
of these
be-
people don't.
You know, and this is me giving a little personal history. I had to be burned by a lot of girls that were not fair to me. I've been, I hazard to say, I dare to say to Alex, the internet cunt, I have been mistreated by far more girls than you have, or will ever be. Far, far more. It is a number I literally can't calculate. I've dated so many girls who have treated me like a piece of shit for a variety of reasons. Many of them unfair. Quite a few of them unfair. I have never looked at women as like every woman as the fucking enemy. Like, you fucking cunts, women should be in cages. How dare they make me feel this way? I have spent so much of my relatively short life depressed over how women made me feel. But it's the individual women's fault. It was my interaction with this person and this person. It was not the whole fucking gender. They did not come to this earth to torture you because they're jealous of your power. You fucking psychopath. That's not the reality. I'm sorry. And yes, you're gonna meet some broken girls. Guess what? Girls meet some broken guys. A lot of fucking broken guys.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
There's no difference whatsoever.
Yeah,
there are
man.
shitheads and there are good people, and that is determined on an individual level.
That's absolutely true.
Your
Yep.
dick doesn't make you good, and her pussy doesn't make her bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry your mom was mean to you when you were being raised. Boo-hoo. Get over it. Get therapy.
What was the actual sentence again?
Some girls do it. All girls should pay.
That is verbatim.
No, that was
Oh.
me shortening it, because here's the thing about faux intellectuals. They like to make a 10-sentence paragraph out of one statement. They don't talk plainly. They talk as eloquently as their brains can function because they think it makes them more right.
So true.
But it doesn't.
No.
You're just talking in circles, you
Yeah.
fucking idiot.
That's exactly
I
what that
can't
was.
even respond to that. That's so retarded.
It's hard to read it. Whenever
And-
you see someone
Yeah.
trying too hard, you know it's because they're trying to. They're not going to say a whole lot.
And
Yeah.
why would you? Why would... There's no way you can make this fucking chauvinist douche respect you. There's no combination of words in the English language. Period. You could literally say some kind of magical phrase that would work on a million other people. It would not work on this guy because he can't lose. It's about winning.
Yeah.
And he's never won in his fucking life. That's the feeling I get. Yes, I'm making false statements about you based on the vibe you give me because you're a fucking creep. I hope you're listening.
He
Eat
will.
a dick. Let me read another one.
Cool.
That's in the same. It's in the same vibe, so maybe we'll just pass over it quickly. It's their fault how they make us feel.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's the core of it. That
Yeah.
is the core of it. You are angry because you have feelings you can't control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the real world. Things happen every fucking day in it that you can't control.
I can't even respond to that.
Yes.
What can you say? It's one of those things where you're just like, what? Like, you couldn't think that. You're saying that to make me angry. That can't be a thing you actually believe. And yet it is. Now Travis is reading the list, and he's just laughing. Because he's laughing in rage. Do you want to pick the next one?
So. It's just like. I mean, like, for the rest of these, we're gonna, like, really have to delve into, like, some of these things they were saying. How they were saying
One person likened women being uncomfortable at E3 to men being uncomfortable. One person, it's Alex. It's the same fucking douche.
Or Matt, or that guy.
No, it was Alex.
that
Matt
was
really got
Alex.
under my skin.
His rationale was, it's like a straight man in a gay bar. Are you going to feel uncomfortable? Yes, and that's your fault, and you
Yeah,
should
he's
leave.
like, if a man walks into a gay bar, he's gonna feel the heat. Like,
Yeah, and he should just step out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Because that's where the women belong, right, Alex?
Oh my
You
god.
fucking dick. Hey, Alex, is the world a gay bar? Do women wake up in a gay bar and work in a gay bar and live in a gay bar and can't get out of a gay bar? That is what the situation would have to be to compare it to a female experience.
Yeah, she can't
Is
get out
if
of
a
her
man
skin.
was trapped in a gay bar,
Yeah.
like Dark City. Like, fuck, I can't get out of this gay bar. There's only one train and it doesn't stop.
yeah.
So to even say that, and then he goes on to compare women to cats. Like, hey,
Oh yeah, he would because he had this whole like.
have
it
you
was-
ever considered what a cat feels when you pet it? Maybe it doesn't want to be pet.
Ugh.
Yes, because women are cats.
Meow.
Yeah.
He didn't even say because maybe they don't want to be pet.
He
was
said,
saying
have
that-
you ever considered a cat's feelings?
No, but he
Wow.
no, what he was saying was like he had like this whole string of posts trying to outline like the biological aspect of
Yeah.
like roles and like attraction,
Right.
And like how basically because of them, how women sort of dig their own hole. Like he was saying, God, what was it that?
He was saying some proper caveman shit.
Yeah, basically that.
Like, hey, they got a womb.
Basically, like women have developed like a certain amount, like certain set of tools in the way they use them. It's like,
Yes,
Men-
as a
men
response
have to sort of be-
to the society.
and he was
we-
sort of saying like you know, take the cat for instance. If you pet it, doesn't it seem to like being pet, and you like to touch it? He was sort of saying like we have natural instincts to gawk. We have natural instincts to reach out and
Right.
touch. So he was saying like with the cat for instance, like. Aren't we already sort of like we don't think about like why we want to touch a cat? When we do, we pet the cat, and the cat doesn't think about why he likes being pet.
Someone doesn't want to be part of this discussion anymore.
I'm trying to look for the article.
She's retreated to her Kindle.
But there's a video that Game Rant put up.
I'm sorry to
19th.
hear that.
I'm sorry.
So that's what he was trying to say. He
Yeah.
was saying that the natural order of things is like this way,
Yeah.
where Eru responded by dragging him into cement.
Yeah, which is one of the myriad reasons why I love Arrow. First of all, Alex, no, I hadn't considered a cat's feelings when I pet them because a cat is an animal
Yeah,
and a woman is a human being,
yeah.
and to even make a comparison is insulting. I know you don't get that because you're only the Wikipedia definition of sexism, according to
Oh god.
But I'm sorry, that's insulting. Women are not cats.
As
I-
Eru
I've
said,
never
even a
thought
cat
what
will show that he
Yeah.
doesn't like being pet. That was really
Exactly.
fucking stupid. A cat will show that,
You
and
know
a
when
woman
a cat
will
doesn't
too.
want to be pet, believe me. As a person who's owned cats,
And maybe you should think about the fact that maybe the woman doesn't want to spend her life in a skin where she's always having men want to reach out and touch her like the cat.
Yeah.
I know her. What the fuck is he talking about?
and if
That
we're gonna go
explode.
along that path, let's consider the society that we've raised the cats that we pet in. What should the cat expect? And by the cat, I mean woman. What should the woman expect? How should the... Are we blaming
The
women
pussy.
for adapting to the society that we have created?
Yeah. That's what it is. Actually, that's pretty
How
much-
dare you come up with a way to get by in the thing that we've made that's not acceptable to us?
Yeah.
That is essentially the statement there. Is, hey, listen, this thing works for us, but the way you're coping in it, it doesn't work for you, but that's your problem. And the way you're coping in it doesn't work for me. So now you've got some issues you need to work out. Anyone who says that to a woman's face should be shot. I really think that... I just want to see him fall... You know what? I want to see him fall like in Dark Knight, where it's not a fall that kills you, it just breaks your legs. Like, you should be thrown from a 4-story building.
Yeah.
It would make me so happy to read on the news, anonymous internet asshole falls from a window, legs are horribly broken. I just can't...
Has a vagina.
That's where my brain goes. It immediately goes to that. And does that make me an asshole? Yes, it does. I don't care.
All right. What are we talking about?
I don't know. I'm starting to get wrapped up in a rage cycle
Yeah.
here, because the more I think about the points that he's made and the fact that he wanted me and everyone else to accept them as just the reality of life, just makes me
that user Matt
goddamn
also responded
angry.
to somebody by basically saying that, like, yes, women are persecuted because of but because of their boobs and the clothes they put on. He was like, duh. Like, he like really wrote duh. It was like,
Yeah.
And he like lost his temper like about it, and
I think
that was really fucking bad.
I think Matt's sexism comes from ignorance, and I think that Alex's sexism
It's
comes
developed.
from, what is the word I'm thinking of? Malevolence. I think that Alex formulated his opinions. I think
Yeah.
Matt hasn't thought about it and is just reacting with
that's true.
with no stimulus.
Yeah, Alex
I
gives me the
really
impression,
think
yeah.
under the right circumstances that Matt could actually grow up and go, oh, this is a thing that I didn't realize is
like
a
it would
thing.
click with him.
Yeah, I really still believe, even after reading some things that made me want to bash my face into a keyboard, like he said to me, your girlfriend isn't constantly in a sexist world. What about when she's alone at home, not interacting with anyone?
That was so bad. My mind just blocked that one out.
I was
That answered
stunned.
its own
That's
question.
stunning.
That
Stunned.
answers itself.
I was like, wow, that is a scintillating point. So I should lock my girlfriend up in the closet,
that
and she'll
totally
never have to
answers
worry
itself.
about
God,
sexism again.
that's at the point where I wrote, you're fucking unhinged.
But that is
Like, you
not-
don't even see, like, when it comes out of your mouth, like, what that sound, like, you have no part of your brain that goes, whoops, that was really dumb, maybe I should delete.
Well, it's part of the winning arguments on the internet thing. But I really think that is obviously from a dumb place, not an angry place. Everything fucking the other cunt said came from an angry place. And yes, I say cunt. I say cunt for men. I like the European usage of cunt because it's so much more
agree.
useful to me. Because I meet so many more idiotic men than I do shitty women. Me. Anyway.
True that.
Let me read another one.
Also Matt had, like, that big contradiction I told you about earlier,
Yeah.
where he was, oh shit, I just had, like, a blank. What was it? He was saying that you didn't ask...
I didn't ask all women
Yeah.
what they thought of Kratos as a sex object.
Yeah, that's right, and Kratos is actually a really good thing. He did 2 mistakes.
Please sum them up for the audience. So basically, before you sum them up, I'll say this. Kratos was brought up as, like, proof that characters are designed to be titillating to women, too. Kratos is a man who murdered his wife and child, and
Ooh.
spends the entire game murdering a ton of people, including innocent civilians. Okay. I brought up the point that Kratos, who you play the game and you do mini-game threesomes and you kill gods.
And he fucks them into the headboard. It's not even just like...
Yes.
Like, it's just like, bam, bam,
So
bam. Like,
violently.
and, like, the headboard shakes, like, the things fall off of it.
Yeah.
And then, like...
The game is to
It's
knock
so
the
male.
jar off the fucking table that's, like, across the room. Now, am I saying that this won't appeal to some women? No, I'm not. Some women will find that hot.
Of course. But
that
like...
is not the
it's,
fucking
That's
point.
not the... It's a male fantasy, and he
Kratos
kills
is-
gods.
yes.
He's incredibly strong.
Kratos is a male empowerment fantasy, and that includes sexually. A guy who can literally fuck girls into submission is for guys,
Yeah.
not for girls.
Yeah.
There are submissive girls who get off on that,
Oh,
but that's
yeah.
called kink.
That's kink, yeah.
That's called kink.
He wasn't designed for this. Like, okay, anyways,
No.
the first thing he did was he tried to bring up the whole argument again that there's kind of not enough females to warrant like this kind of issue, which was really kind of a shaky claim.
Yeah,
And
that
then-
goes back to how many are there?
Yeah, which was it's fucking stupid, and it was a huge generalization. It was like beyond the whole point of the discussion. And then later on, he counters the Kratos thing by going, "You don't know how many. You don't know how many. You didn't. Did you ask all of them?"
He said,
So first he
"How
blames
do you know that it's not a woman's sexual fantasy? Did you ask all women?"
So first of all, he's mad at you for not knowing somehow. You didn't talk to every woman, but then
Yeah.
earlier generalized how many
how come you
women are
didn't
in
read
game.
the minds of all women? I did.
He was willing to pass over the reality of how many women are involved in gaming for his
Right,
point.
right.
But then when you brought up the fact that
I need
Kratos
all
is
of them on my
obviously
side.
a thematic, he's a male power fantasy, and anybody who's half decent understanding themes or
Anybody
metaphors
whose parents did
or
not
writing,
drink bleach during their pregnancy.
yeah, like I mean. Fucking anybody who fucking understands like characters and themes would tell you, no, Kratos is supposed to represent the male fantasy.
Yeah.
That's what makes the game fun.
Yeah.
He went on to go, no, which is number one already really embarrassing, and then
Right.
number two, blaming you for not knowing if every girl wouldn't be turned on by him.
Right.
Which is where my brain fucking.
I just
melted.
wanted you to know, Felicia,
Huge
that
hypocrite.
that milky
Huge
white,
hypocrite.
That milky white skin that Kratos has, that sexy white skin he has, is actually the ashes of his dead wife and child burned onto his body.
Hot.
Are you turned on by that?
I'm so.
Is that something you
turned
want?
on.
That's for you, isn't
There's
it? I don't
nothing
like
more
that.
I want
I don't-
in life.
I don't like
And
playing.
I can't control. I wouldn't be able to control myself if I was walking down the street and I saw Kratos down.
Yeah,
He could
you're
fuck
just-
you into
Yeah.
a wall. Think
Oh
about
my
that.
God.
He has
Fuck
so many
you
things to
and
offer
all
you.
your
It's
friends at
all
the same
his
time.
fault
He
for
fucking
He's a
being
giver.
so hard that
so
jar over there
exuberantly sexual.
falls over.
He's a giver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could bring you the head of some creature.
that's
And
all I
listen,
want.
let's be honest. It really doesn't appeal to me as a male that I can
no,
play as a man who
absolutely.
kills gods and fucks many women.
Oh,
that
yeah.
doesn't appeal to me. Not really.
Yeah, that's not for boys.
No,
also,
not at all.
Also, I kind of wanted to bring up something which was important to me. A lot of this was like
Please.
about a lot of this is about the whole female thing. Like, there's like a lot of going in circles with logic about getting in like a woman's head and speaking for her. But that's only half the story, really, because this is also about men. This is about
Yeah.
but that was never discussed, and
No.
it's really important because this isn't about protecting little girls' squishy feelings.
Right.
It's also about the
It's
fact
not.
that like me and you are also boys, and me and you also don't relate to this.
Yeah.
This is a boy and girl issue because the
Yeah.
boy gamers are like, I'm not digging it. I'm not digging what this represents and the vibe it gives off, and I haven't because it's
The
not
girls are
it's not me, and
discouraged
the girls don't like being around it because they kind of they roll their eyes and the boys are rolling their eyes.
Yeah.
Together, the gender's like "Ugh," about it too. It's not
Yeah,
just about
girls
girls.
don't go to E3 and see booth babes and go, "Ah." They soldier through it because they're still human beings. Women have strength. This might shock some listeners, but women have strength. Yes, they actually put up with this shit and soldier on. The whole point is not, as you said, to protect women's squishy feelings. Women get discouraged by it, and women are pushed down by it, but women continue forward. All of the commenters who said that women should just deal with it, these are the same people who, when Sony says we're not going to put backwards compatibility in a PS3,
Yeah.
they go, I'm never buying Sony again!
They grab
If you
pitchforks.
had to deal with one of the things that women have to deal with on a daily basis, you wouldn't be a part of this. Or you'd adapt, and maybe you'd start to understand.
I
This-
don't know.
but-
I'm actually surprised at my ability to emotionally check out from this thing.
I'm not.
You
I think
know?
you're used to it.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not.
so used to it.
You came from a country that demands that.
Oh, absolutely. There's no way I could be here today if I'm not the way I am.
Yeah.
You know, to read all these comments and just the ignorance and the stupidity that goes on, it's not worth my time.
No,
It's
not at all.
seriously not worth my time.
Like,
and I know Matt was like, "Oh, if she feels like she has something to say, she should come and say something."
He was
We're
begging
not
you to
going to be.
post.
Ugh, fuck off.
Begging
you know what,
you to
Matt?
post.
Fuck off.
Yeah, just say it now.
Well, he
I
didn't,
am not going to walk into a wall. It's stupid.
he didn't believe that what I was saying, that
Yeah.
you were that you found his shit stupid,
what are the odds?
was true.
Yeah.
Like, he wanted you to come and say it himself. Like, and Travis's point is a great one, because my reaction wasn't immediately in defense of females. My first reaction was embarrassment, because this shit doesn't appeal to me either. I see booth babes, and I just feel weird. You know, they're standing around, they're hot girls who don't know anything, and it's like, what am I supposed to say to you? Am I supposed to walk up and be like, "You're hot, can we have a picture?"
Yeah, can you imagine how I would feel?
And the guys
going-
do that. There's like the
Yeah.
photo on the article
Oh, yeah,
of like
that's
the
right.
really
Of-
fat,
yeah.
creepy, like he's wearing
The
a...
quintessential nerd.
Yeah. And it's like, he has a right to do that and everything, but like as a gamer, like I kind of don't like his ass either. Like
Yeah.
he's the kind of reason why I don't like. Not only do I not like, I'm not comfortable with the booth babes, but I'm not comfortable with like my own. Like the guy's like.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly. That guy makes
That's
me
his
uncomfortable
moment to
too.
be a voyeur.
Yeah, that anchors those guys in who are like the lecherous, like, "Oh, booth babes, I'm gonna take a bunch of
That's
booth babe
neat.
pictures." Those guys make me even more uncomfortable than the booth babes do.
It's the whole environment. That's what Penny Arcade was
Yeah.
eliminating.
Yeah, and yes, and like, when I see a booth babe, I want them to not press their tits against my head, metaphorically or literally. I have no problem being exposed to attractive women
Sure.
who know the brand.
Sure.
If you want to
That's
hire
cool, yeah.
a pretty girl over an ugly girl, listen, that shit happens, and I'm not happy about that either.
Whatever.
But I'm willing to give a little bit of leeway to booth babes who know anything about the product they're representing at all. They don't. A lot, and I read in the article that apparently the ones
Oh,
at E3
yeah, one of them was like,
kind of
I've
do.
played like a lot of Tekken, and then he just like, he rode that horse. It was like,
Yeah.
so?
Yeah, like the girl...
He was so impressed by that, and then used that to eliminate the whole idea.
Well-
Like, he just eliminated the whole argument after that. He was like, well, obviously booth babes aren't all idiots if one of them told me she really does like Tekken.
Yeah.
And then he moved on, and it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just a huge logical
and I
leap.
had a thought about that specifically, and I can't... I don't want to make the claim that this is what actually happened, but this is what my brain said happened. In the same way that, you know, like a hot bartender knows how to appeal to a guy, and like there are
Yeah.
guys who get fooled by that of like, the bartender really digs me, I'm gonna tip her a little bit extra. You don't think that a booth babe saying, "I like to play Tekken 2. Yoshimitsu's my favorite character." That's all she said, and there are guys who are willing to take that and run it all the way to the finish line of, she's totally a gamer, she's just like me, she's
Yeah.
totally informed. There are girls, I'm sorry to say this, that exist who know the barest minimum to get by in a conversation because they know that the guys will carry it that much
or even
further.
just one of them played with her older brother, you know.
Right,
And,
and,
who,
and
then
I'm
who
not
cares,
saying,
too?
and I'm not saying that that is definitely what happened. Maybe this girl was like, "Fuck yeah, I've been playing Tekken since Tekken 2. You know, that was the first game I ever owned. I beat the shit out of guys in the arcades. I'm a fucking fighting game
Yeah, but guess
person."
what? She wasn't hired because of that. She was hired
No,
because she was...
exactly.
That was like a really
Exactly.
big coincidence.
That was an unintended bonus.
Yeah.
She wasn't hired because she played Tekken. She was hired because she had D cups.
Yeah.
Or a pretty face. And it's like, I have no problem with a booth babe if the booth babe is not fucking has her tits like pushed way the fuck out, and I sit there and I have a real conversation with her.
You
If
know,
I sit
yeah.
down, I'm like, let's talk about Alan Wake. You know, as a writer, that made me feel this, and this. Like, I really appreciated the way they went
Yeah.
with this, and her, you know, she'll go, you know, I'm not a writer, but, you know, I draw stuff, or like, I know artists, and you
Or
know,
she just played the game and could and like go
as
over
a
like the
non-artist,
chapters of the game with
like,
you.
this is how it hit me. Like, I don't make art, but like, I like, you know, I came at it from this angle. I would love to have a real conversation with a booth babe. I've never felt like that is even a thing that could happen. Like, I see a booth babe, immediately feel uncomfortable because there's just this vibe of like, look at me, I'm pretty.
They're the captive audience, like almost like when, because I've worked in the service industry,
Right.
and so people talk to me in a certain way because they know I'm the captive audience. The
Right.
bartender is also a captive audience, so
Right.
she's there for a guy to come up and just kind of throw out whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
You know, I have customers who try and joke around, make bad jokes because
Yeah.
that's kind of like their new right as the customer.
Yeah.
And I just have to go, oh yeah, but like if we were just like on the street, like in line at the bank, and he was being like that, I'd be like, you're kind of fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But when you're like a customer, it's your time to like joke around
You're
and like
like,
have someone to
"Ha ha,
listen
that's funny."
because they know you'll listen and you know they know,
That
or
is a-
sometimes they'll be more mean.
That is a great fucking point. If
But
you
I've been
wanna-
sensitive to those kind of people's role in life even when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Like even when I was a little kid, I'd go somewhere and somebody's job was to be like,
yeah, you feel the energy.
you feel that energy, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, that's not genuine.
No.
So I truly believe there's probably a really cool middle ground between having like really hot girls who are sort of playing a character at like I almost want to say, dare I say, like a mascot. Like when I go to Disneyland, all the princesses are being the princess.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. Like, even though I feel even weird about that to a certain degree, like, I went, my little cousin was there, and I'm like, you know what? This blonde being Snow White or whatever is being really sweet. Like, I dig that, and she's like has some sort of charisma. And
Yeah.
I went to a Comic-Con when I was younger, and there was like a couple. She wasn't quite a booth babe, but she was playing a TV character, and she was actually the actress from the show. And she was really pretty.
Right.
As a little boy, she made me nervous, but she was really welcoming and chatty with me, and she signed shit.
Right.
And I was like, and that kind of stayed in my mind. And I'm almost like, you can have more women around, like, who are cool and pretty, and like showing up to conventions to be pretty, and she can be part of the convention.
Yeah.
And the booth babes are not part of the convention.
No.
They're undermining the point
No.
of the convention.
Yeah.
Which we could also talk about. Like,
They're a living tassel
difference
that
be-
you're hanging off.
we
of
could
your
also talk about the
graphics
difference
card.
between how this is actually not really censorship so much as it is a
Right.
standard thing. Because remember, Brian Kim was talking about that.
Yeah, and before we even get into that, there really is something to be said about these booths. But here's how you know that genuine conversations are a difficult thing to have with these people. Because in your mind, as a smart person, you know, looking at these booth babes, that if a creep comes up with them and goes, I think you're really pretty, you have really nice tits, that girl has to smile and laugh
Yeah,
at that
she's the-
guy.
yeah.
Instead of going, ew, dude, what the fuck?
She can't be a real person.
You know, within reason. Like, if the dude starts getting grabby, of course, she'll be like, security,
Yeah.
or, you know, we'll do something. But she has to tolerate your uncleverness, she has to tolerate your failure to engage and pretend that you're engaging.
So that energy is at the convention.
And that casts doubt over any interaction you have with them at all.
yeah.
For me personally, and in general. And, you know, for me, if you want to have a booth babe, have a girl who the babe part is, wow, she's really personable, and she knows a lot about what she's here to represent. You know,
Yeah.
like, hey, have you heard about this game? Let me tell you about some of this shit about this game.
You know what it reminds me of? There was like a really cool, like, Capcom threw a thing where they started getting girls who really look like the characters
Yeah.
to show up, and they kind of took it a step further, like, in recent years, because I saw this really thing. They got this chick who looked like Chun-Li and dressed like Chun-Li, came out sexy as hell,
Right.
but she did some really
Daniel White.
mad kung fu.
Yeah.
And then she did the moves like Chun-Li's. It wasn't just like she went like through the kung fu forms. She threw in like some of Chun-Li's like signature stuff.
Right.
Like she went like into like a fake spinning bird kick. She went like into like some of her poses, like when you duck with the character in Street Fighter. Like
Right.
it was like, and
She
she did like
did
some
work.
of she did some
Yeah.
of the combos, and she came out and was like, that was Chun-Li.
Yeah.
And it was like, and people were
That's
just like,
pretty cool.
damn! And
Chun-Li,
they went nuts forever and ever. And
Right.
she probably was hanging out at the show or whatever. Maybe it was an assumption. But the
Right.
point is, like, you can have people like who can be part of the show in some way and make interactive for the gamers and,
Right.
and be cool. And the guys too. There's nothing wrong with like hiring a really sexy guy who
No.
looks like the default character of Skyrim. Like he's like the
Yeah.
Nord, and he'll like talk to people and be
Yeah,
like,
if you
"Oh,
want
like
if you want to fucking hire
he can
Alexander
be sexy.
Skarsgård, just some
Skarsgård."
which is a man that is universally regarded by every woman I've ever met as a hot piece of ass. If you want him to show up there
Skarsgård.
and just talk about fucking being a Viking, you know what? Like, it's not going to appeal to me in the same way, but I got no fucking problem with that at all.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
You know,
cheapen.
I
I
kind
mean,
of
the
like
issue is that it really is just Chun-Li's and no
yeah,
males, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but I would like appreciate that too. Like,
Yeah.
even though it's not necessarily
But that
geared
just goes
for
back
me,
to the point that it is completely discriminating against
Right.
women demo.
right? And this is a point I brought up that didn't really get acknowledged. Is if you replaced women with black people,
Oh, yeah.
like if you had this new Saints Row games coming out,
Yeah, that was a good point.
and they got you hired just 10 of the scariest looking black people, and you just dress them up in like they're just thug as fuck, and all they do is just mug at people. They just
or high
anytime
five,
you
or even
make-
high five people like just trying to be black.
No,
No.
I want to go the other way, or just make you feel uncomfortable. They're just there to stare you in the eyes and be like, "What the fuck you looking at, Whitey? Saints Row, bitch."
Yeah,
We
and the
would
whole like
call
prop
that
guns and stuff.
racist.
Yeah, that's
because
yeah.
it would be.
And then this just needs to get back into the basic definition of what objectifying somebody is.
Yes.
I believe everybody has a right to go to different degrees of how offended you are by being
Yes.
objectifying somebody.
Sure.
But this is booth babes are objectifying women. Like I
Yes.
don't care if
They're an object.
If they don't offend your sensibilities, if you think it's not a big deal, it's the definition of it.
Right. Right,
It's the
exactly.
same thing. If you did it with Saints, it would be objectifying.
Right.
When you have somebody, her purpose is not to be there as a person.
No.
She's there to
Yeah.
just be
She's
the...
just there as a trope
Yeah.
to represent sexuality. That's
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's
In the
objectifying
same way
somebody.
that the black guys are there for street cred.
it.
So
Yeah.
it could be...
Like,
It
oh
can,
man, they hired black guys.
It can be harmless, but they're not doing it in a tongue-in-cheek manner either. So
No.
it is objectifying
No.
somebody.
You know? And, oh god.
Well, we could just go into the whole slippery slope thing and talk about what I talked about with Brian Kim. And just
Yeah,
like,
let's talk about the argument of, well, if you ban booth babes, where does it stop?
That's easy.
It's easy. Yeah, in my mind, it's really easy. If a person is objectified, and objectified is a very clear-cut definition, then you don't have them.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it, stop. You know?
My whole thing was that I like, while I'm down with the whole freedom of expression, like, the PAX is not a public event, it's a private event. And anytime you use sex, and this is just sex for this example, since we're talking about it.
Right.
If you use sex to undermine the point, like, you're not showing up to E3, it's like you didn't buy the ticket. Like, maybe you did because you're a pervert, but the ticket's not sold to you because of the booth babes. They're not even promised to you that year. Who cares? Like, it's
Right.
it's supposed to be about the games. The
Yeah,
booth
you're
babes
not
are
going
literally
there to
thrown
see
at
the
you
girls.
as the window dressing.
You live in the world.
They're all they're doing is they're there to give you the Las Vegas feeling of
Yeah.
the lights, camera. It's just part of the feeling.
They're Hooters girls.
Yeah,
it's not even the Vegas thing, because at least the Vegas showgirls dance. At least they can
Yeah.
kick in a fucking line.
Yeah, so what my friend was saying when he called me like 2 days ago was he was just like, I totally get that, but you banned something, and his whole keyword was to ban something. And I said, this is only, look, for one, banning is only the start. It could come back later, but this is just them putting a foot on the ground saying this is a precedent. That's all. Maybe we can do it more tastefully later.
Let's talk about other things that are banned from conventions and how the slippery slope argument might apply to them. Drugs, you can't do at conventions. It's illegal to possess drugs at conventions. Well, caffeine's a drug. What if sodas get banned from conventions? But that's an idiotic point.
Yeah, because
That's-
soda doesn't
that's
undermine
a-
the event.
That's a non-issue.
Yeah.
It's not a real and this is how I've seen the argument used. It's not like, this is the specific thing I heard time and time again. What about female journalists that dress sexy? Who cares?
Yeah.
They're the individual. They came to the show. They were not hired to dress sexy by a corporation.
Right.
They dressed themselves and showed up.
Yeah.
And they get to, decide what they want to wear and how they deal with how people react to that. You have that freedom in society.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous to conflate female reporters or anyone who's not hired to be there but is reporting or just observing, to conflate them with the people whose 100% of their job is to go, with creeps.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing.
That's
and
how she
banning
rolls.
one has no effect on the other.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, back to what I was saying. Porn is a different industry. It's about sex.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can argue about how it objectifies women, but that doesn't matter because this is fucking America. Like,
Right.
that was like a big part of my feeling was like, I get it. I get the slippery slope thing, but it's fucking America. Like,
Right.
there's nobody who's going to start banning other shit because the whole point of porn is for adults. There's an understanding
Right.
here. It's not a mutual environment.
You know
a strip club is not a
exactly what you're
mutual
looking for.
environment. But like someone said earlier, if you went shopping and they kept trying to use the tits,
That-
it would
there's the
make
thing. Yeah,
that
let-
would make it distasteful.
Let me do
We're
that.
talking about taste.
Yeah, let me do that
It's
explanation.
undermining the point of
Because-
the product.
Because here's the metaphor that they tried to use. It's like, if we go that way, then what's next? Women can be offended by girls stripping in strip clubs and demand that girls can't strip in strip
But
clubs.
that's an entirely different thing.
Exactly. The real thing, and this is something that another guy on the site, Andrew, who I really liked his contributions. He made
He brought
me
up a good
feel
point at one,
better.
yeah.
Yeah.
He made me feel better about the people commenting on that site. So I just want to say big ups to Andrew. He said making that comparison is ridiculous.
It
It's
is.
more akin to saying, what if we banned strippers from stripping in a supermarket? Because when you go to a supermarket, you're looking for food,
Yeah.
not for tits.
Right.
When you go to a strip club, you're looking for tits. That is 100% the business,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah, and of course, this is fucking America. If you want to use tits as advertising. Like, you have the right to attempt to put booth babes out.
Yeah.
It's fucking America.
Right.
That's your marketing tool.
Yeah.
Whatever. But everyone else is allowed to set a line in the sand saying, no, my supermarkets won't have these. It just doesn't represent the environment
Right.
that we're going for.
Right.
PAX did the same thing.
Right.
Also, I want to personally thank Andrew for responding to something I was saying by saying this is a really good point. He said he read an article talking about how gamers have developed a knee-jerk defensiveness to stuff.
Yeah.
That's really true because growing up through the 90s, like the mid 2000s,
We have a major persecution complex.
yeah, there's a major
Yeah.
persecution, and it's true. Like,
Yeah.
and even today, and that's something I noticed when I first started reading Kotaku. Like for the first 1 or 2 years, they'll take anything that's happened in the media and then like they'll react to it. Like
Yeah.
even if some Fox News reporter just made an offhand comment, that,
Flamethrower.
yeah, just like they'll be like, Fox News reporter said that Mario was dumb, and then he'll be like, no, that's like the same as when you see Marilyn Manson made
And
people
that's
shoot
how they
kids.
all sound like on
And
Kotaku, too.
Kotaku did that, does it all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And even as adults, they don't realize when
Yeah.
they're being overly sensitive to something
Yeah.
nobody cares about.
Didn't Brian
If Paris
King say
Hilton,
that too?
no, if Paris Hilton bought, this is actually the thing. Paris Hilton bought an Xbox. That was on the front page of Kotaku. They're really interested if anybody who doesn't seem like they're a gamer becomes a gamer. They're like, welcome to the club. Like
Yeah.
they like don't even know they're doing it. And then if anybody seems like they want to box in video games and they make it public, like on TV,
Right.
and like they kind of like, they could be anybody. Like it could be Obama being like, yeah, I feel like, we should try and watch me put in games, and they'll immediately go into a censorship
Yeah.
article how the government is gonna
Well, because
control our games. It's like, whoa, fucking slow down. It's
Yeah.
like we have a whole thing about growing up thinking that games are supposed to train you to shoot people.
Right.
So anytime.
Well,
So the Booth Babes is under the gaming threat. So they're
Right.
trying to just do their nerd thing and pitch in
right.
to save them.
And we as gamers know why that is. We're still fighting for legitimacy for the art form.
Yeah.
There's still, Fox News still runs fucking shit where they say they make false claims
Very.
about video games. They called Mass Effect a rape simulator.
Whoa.
What?
Yeah, you hear about
Felicia,
that?
No.
you
what?
have played Mass Effect. Tell me how much rape happened in Mass Effect
As a woman.
1
Zero. What
that
the
you
fuck?
had control of.
How? Where?
They
what?
also said that you could control the breast size of your character.
Yeah, because of the whole like avatar creation
Could
part
we
at the
even?
beginning.
No.
No, not at all, right?
No.
Everyone has the same. Actually, everyone has the same body.
Everyone
in
had the
Mass Effect.
same
Yeah.
copy paste body.
Everybody has the same rigging too. It's like
Yeah.
everything is just the same freaking model.
Which is
Yeah.
so aside from what they're going
Yeah.
for. Actually,
There are
It's
still
ironic.
politicians like Leland Chi, I think his name is, and I believe he's in California. This fucking asshole still trying to legislate against video games. He's basically trying to put us on Australia's gaming model, which
Ugh.
is art is scary, we shouldn't have it.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
Some people do not relate to art. They just do not. It's
Right.
just such an ancillary.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Careful. I just put that there.
Sorry, I almost karate chopped a lamb.
But I understand why gamers have that reaction. But in this case, and I have that reaction, definitely, or I at least try to, and I try to be aware
Well, we're
of it. It's
trying
hard
to,
to
be
rein it
legitimate
in.
too as a human being. You
It's-
know,
yeah.
if anything, you guys should be more.
Exactly. And when sexism comes up, sexism is more important than the absurd claim of a Fox News guy who's trying to get ratings. I'm sorry,
Right.
it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
One is definitely more immediately in my purview because I'm not a female, but I am a gamer. But both affect me, and both affect people I care about.
Sure.
So in terms of what is a more, like, you have to set aside your knee-jerking and, like, seriously look, like, when people say sexism is a thing that exists in games,
Pay attention.
and it is. It's,
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to pay attention. We need to, I don't say remove. I want things to be removed. Like, there's a censorship argument in here. I don't want things to be removed.
No.
I want the people who make things to not go down that road because they know it's not the road that they need to go down. Or if they
Yeah.
go down that road, it's to draw attention to that road and how it exists.
Yeah, the way I break it down is that every game that wants to be about gore and violence and sex should go ahead and do it.
Right.
But we know that's what it is. Some of them
Right.
will do it tongue in cheek, and I always really appreciate. I really appreciate when something does something distastefully, but does it on purpose and it knows it.
Right.
Versus just something that's shitty. Like I always love that kind of stuff. Like Grindhouse is a genre like that. But then maybe companies should feel less scared. Slowly, I hope this happens to monetarily invest in a creative project just as much as the shitty one, because they already know the shitty stuff sells. And that's cool. They have a right to do that. But maybe
Right.
they can start investing in stuff that appeals to more people, like maybe a better taste.
Right, and I think
Better
that,
plot, better characters, more human stuff, or maybe more artistic, more creative, more engaging. But they won't do that because it's a formula. It's the same reason why Pokemon will never change or get smarter.
Right, and I think
Why do it?
I think we need this kind of conversation. We need when we have this hypothetical relationship with developers, where developers feel like you're our community, and we want to do right by you. We want to challenge you. We want to make you feel things. When that reality exists, that's when a lot of our problems will go away. But that's a reality that does not come easily or anytime soon.
And it's hard because the people involved in making
Star
games,
Trek.
in a lot of ways, are very creative, and
Yes.
they want to put out projects. That's why Kickstarter is a big deal, because it allows people to actually give a shit
Right.
to get funding, and people really tune into their energy, and they say, I want you to go through with your vision, please, because I would
Right.
like maybe to play.
But one of the other thing about a lot of these creative people, and this is something me and Felicia talked about the other day, a lot of people in the industry are between 30 and 40-year-old hetero white men.
Yeah.
And that is a perspective. We need more diversity in the industry too, and I don't mean like affirmative action or anything like that. I mean, we should desire to have diversity. I want to see more games written by women, more characters written by women. I want to see more women characters that are real, as opposed to just, either a guy whose name was changed to a girl name, like the lines were written as a guy and
Yeah.
you just changed the gender, which is what Shepard is
Yeah.
in Mass Effect.
That's not, the same.
Shepard is like one of the strongest female characters that you'll see in a game, but Shepard
it's
is
'cause
just
she's a man, too.
copy paste. She's a
Yeah.
man.
She's actually a
Yeah.
man.
She even has male animations. If you see how she moves.
No, the game is written as Shepard is a man. I don't care
Yeah.
what Shepard's a man.
Right.
If you're playing as a woman, that's only because you're tweaking the game.
Right.
And that's your preference. But
Right.
Shepard is supposed to be a fucking man, and that's how he's written.
Right. But
Maybe we could also talk about why it's not important.
what's not important?
How everyone, the whole, like, it's not a big deal thing. Because you brought it, because that was like my kind of whole, like, it was brought up time and time again in this thread, like, you're missing the point. Like, what he's trying to say is that the Booth Babes isn't that so big a deal. Like, why are we blah blah blah? And what you said is, the whole civil rights
right.
things happened because a black woman's on the back of the bus and she tried
Yeah,
to sit in the front of the bus.
I really
And that's really
hesitated
true.
to bring that into the argument because it's very easy. It's like invoking Hitler in an argument.
No,
where
no, but
even
I-
if it's an apt
Yeah.
comparison, people will just react.
But I feel like I can bring that into context where it's fair.
Okay.
My mother grew up in a generation in the South where, when she was a little girl, there were different fountains,
right.
and that wasn't weird. That was normal. And you
Yeah.
could also say the fountain is not, like, all these things are soft issues again.
Yeah.
Individually, like, the fountain is like,
You could say, hey,
if somebody threw a fit
racism
about
exists in the government.
if
We
somebody
can't worry
threw
about
a
the
fit
fountains.
just about the fountain, they would feel the same way we do about sexism in games because we grew up on it. We're just
Right.
we know.
Right.
They would do the same thing.
Right.
Right? But I couldn't even imagine what that would be like.
No.
Again, it's such a small thing. We're talking about water fountains, but that's a really deep thing for me to think about. My mother really would have seen that with her real eyeballs, and
Yes.
and
It's a
the same way
visible
my
part of the problem.
the same way my grandfather would have never thought that I would grow up with my eyeballs seeing what we do with the computers and stuff. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. Every generation is going to witness a thing that's unique to that generation.
Right.
That was kind of hers, and I can't
Right.
even relate.
No.
So,
yeah.
I think what happened
And
to her
only
on the back.
because people took steps to make it go away.
So I think what happened to her in the bus would have been the same eye-rolling thing.
right.
Black people were on the back of the bus all fucking day, every day.
Right. And one decided to sit in the front and not move.
Uh-huh. So that would have been a really eye-rolling thing.
What's the big deal?
But it's a big deal because it's about so this
Exactly.
is the same thing.
Exactly.
This is the same thing.
Exactly.
Every reasonable person will tell you this is a soft issue. Booth babes are harmless. No, I'm not retarded.
Right.
I fucking get that. But this is about representing
Right.
a demographic,
Here,
and
the
we
point
cannot
they
relate.
made- the point they made time and again is booth babes are such a small part of the larger issue. And so was the seating on buses, on municipal buses for civil rights. And yet, that was an explosive moment in civil rights. And it happened more than once. Like, Rosa Parks wasn't the only one who did that. She was just the one that story fucking exploded because of it. you can't look at a social issue that's as important as sexism and decide that you can magically get to the heart of it. Because it's such a big thing and such an abstract concept for people it doesn't apply to. That to just tell people in games, hey, stop being sexist, they don't even know what that means.
So
you have to attack things that are sexist and go, this is sexist, dude.
Exactly.
Stop doing it.
So in this case,
so
the
that they
booth
start to
babes
build an understanding
like
of what
the
it
wedge.
is. Exactly. And in the case of racism, I think a lot of people knew what fucking racism was. Maybe they didn't. In this case, sexism, I think, for males is a largely ethereal thing, unfortunately. I think a lot of guys lack the basic understanding of what exactly sexism is.
Of course they do.
And because of that, we need to focus our energy as people who want sexism to go away on things that they do understand, and to bring their understanding into those things as we address them. Of like, hey, listen, this is a perfect example of sexism, and I'm going to tell you why. And the first time they hear the conversation, maybe they're not going to get it. But if they hear the conversation 25 fucking times with 25 different fucking things, or the same thing 5 times, it will start to make sense. They'll go, okay, this is not what I think as a reaction, but this is a thought that people have, and maybe there's some truth to it. There are, to say, it's easy to say, well, this is a relatively small issue and you need to pick your battles. This is an incredibly visible issue.
Yeah.
This is not like a girl was bullied on a gaming website and that's where we're going to start the campaign.
Yeah.
These are people whose jobs are to be tits at the biggest gaming convention in the fucking world. Besides what? The Tokyo Game Show? I think that one is a little bit big. But it doesn't even matter.
the other.
Every gamer knows what the fuck E3 is. Period.
Yeah.
So to address something that is a huge part of E3, is it going to solve the problem tomorrow?
No.
No. Of course not. How quickly did the civil rights movement go? It's still going. You think racism is fucking gone? It's not. I'm sorry, it ain't. There's still steps to be taken. That doesn't mean we shouldn't take the steps. Because I'll tell you what, I've never seen a black-only water fountain in my life. That is measurable progress. And I want my kids, my hypothetical kids that I'll never have, to live in a world where sexism was a thing that used to be a big deal.
It's a lot
but
more
now
silly
it's
in the
an
future.
isolated thing of like, wow, when you see a sexist, you immediately know what they're doing, and you're a bit sad for them. I want to live in that world where sexism is not this fucking what it is.
Yeah. The way I took from it was, it's a big deal to me, and the reason why I'm getting into big arguments about it over something that I realistically understand is not a world changing or big deal. I mean, there's a lot of sexism, a lot of things, was because I play a lot of games. I'm part of the gaming demographic, so it's an aspect that's slowly changed, one I'm relieved to see, and the whole thing just doesn't represent me. Like I said, even as a kid, I was uncomfortable in people in positions like booth babes are. I've always been sensitive to it. So that's my angle. And then when I see the photo of that guy in that article, he's not my angle. So I'm trying to push out things that don't represent me.
Right.
Obviously, I have to speak seriously on an issue that's soft, like it's bigger, because that's the only way I can talk seriously about something.
Foot in the door.
Yeah, I can talk seriously about something that represents me, because gaming doesn't represent me a lot as a gamer. That makes me sad, whether I'm a boy gamer or a girl gamer.
Right.
But gaming, in a lot of ways, I've never felt like the right nerd for stuff. The whole, it's supposed to be a bad word,
I know
nerd.
exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so when something like that gets tasteful on my level, in my opinion, heightens the taste of something, I'm relieved. I feel like things are going more towards my direction.
Right.
And I think it's for the betterment of everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry. So.
Yeah. I've noticed we haven't really let Felicia talk that
I know.
much.
I wanted to say I want
We're
you to.
sexist.
No, it's not that. I really just don't have the energy to talk about these idiots. It's just so dumb.
Yeah, that really can't be stated enough. Tell them what your experience was.
Oh, reading
what
that?
you told
oh my
me.
goodness.
Yeah.
So, I read it the first time. I got fucking pissed off, and I wrote paragraphs and paragraphs to comment. And then I decided I'm not gonna waste my energy on these guys because they're not gonna listen.
Right.
And then more comments started appearing, and that got me angry again.
Yeah.
And then I wrote another paragraph and another paragraph and another paragraph, and then I decided no, I'm not going to validate their opinions with my response.
Right.
And then I deleted it. And then more and more comments came on, and the same process happened over and over again. And to a point where I actually felt responsible to voice my opinion as a girl gamer, because I'm thinking, okay, maybe not many girl gamers are reading this thing, and so they can't voice. And since I have, and I've invested so much time, I should voice myself. So maybe these men will shut the fuck up, you know, because I do feel that they somehow have that protection, because there's no women
Right.
in the forum right now
Right.
saying that's utter bullshit. There is sexism going on in the world right now.
And we don't know for sure that none of those commenters are women, but it doesn't feel like it.
I don't think
they
so.
certainly would not be.
Yeah,
Are you
I
kidding?
don't
feel very
Yeah,
male.
it's pretty. It's safe to
I don't
assume
think
they're
it's
all male.
unreasonable to
Yeah,
assume.
exactly.
But
But
let
at
me-
the end of the day, I really decided that I'm not going to even care.
And let me just say, even right away, the fact that you felt pressured to represent an entire gender, like, I need to
Right.
to represent all women in this, that's something I've never thought. Like, I need to represent all white guys.
Yeah,
True.
That's a luxury that's the luxury we have. We never have that feeling. Ever.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. You know? I just have my thoughts. And, you know, if a dumb fucking guy who looks exactly like me or could be conflated with me says something, I just laugh like, you're an idiot.
yeah.
I don't think we look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Good grammar.
Well, I mean, if anybody can actually say honestly that sexism doesn't exist right now, it's a person who's led a very sheltered life.
Oh,
Yes.
Absolutely. So there's nothing I can say through the internet, nonetheless, to convince him otherwise. If he
Right.
can't see it with his own eyes in the real world, there's
Right.
no way I can say and show him how terrible it is right now.
I lost count of how many times that it was implied that you or anyone like you was just being oversensitive.
Yeah,
and
what
there
does
was
that
no
mean?
real
Right,
issue,
right.
And then it's
Oh,
all
we're
about
girls,
your
we're
feelings.
squishy, we can't...
What kind of claim
Yeah.
is that? It's not even something they could argue.
know-
It's just them saying it.
Yeah.
It's not logical. It's not intelligent. It's not helpful. It's just that you're just overreacting. What does
It's
that mean?
the claim of
Overreact.
someone
If, like-
trying to be right.
Well, at first, right, when I first started
Okay.
reading it, you know, I don't like the media's way of, you know, reporting people being offended, right?
Right.
That word is used so much in
very
a very
overused.
overreactionary way. I understand when some people want to say, no, that's overreactionary. You can't possibly be offended by someone saying, like, the fortune cookie thing with
Right.
Lynn and
Oh
the
my
ice cream.
god,
What
the
the
fortune
fuck?
cookie ice cream.
Yeah,
the,
that
the,
is so
the media
retarded.
loves the word
Yeah.
outrage.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
are
people
outraged.
This ice
What
cream was
people?
called fortune cookie.
What
It had a
people?
fortune cookie in the middle of the ice cream, and it was named
That's awesome.
Lintastic. Yeah, they
Yeah.
said that's racist
It's called
because it's a
Linsanity.
fortune cookie.
It
Because
was
he's
called
Chinese.
Taste the Linsanity.
Tastel insanity.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Who's Lin?
That is
Lynn
Lin.
was, because you're obviously living in a cave, Lynn for about 2 weeks was a New York Knicks, I want to say point guard, who
Yeah.
suddenly, out of
Yeah.
nowhere, became hot shit because all of their star players were injured or on the bench.
Remember the
Oh.
chink
And
in
he
the armor
just-
Yeah.
whole argument?
He scored like 1 billion points, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, this guy is amazing."
Oh.
You know, is
Okay, well, it's-
the
it's-
improbable story. And then a news writer said that because as soon as he started not performing
Yeah.
as well, a news article writer used the phrase "chink in the armor," like Link has a chink in the armor, and the backlash. A bunch of people did that. A couple of them got fired. All of them got suspended
Yeah.
or had to apologize.
Yeah.
And the word outrage was used 50,000 fucking times.
Yeah.
But they made ice cream about him that had the fortune cookie in it.
Ben
Yeah.
and Jerry's
That's
thought
pretty-
it would
yeah.
be cute to
That's
make
pretty
a
racist.
Lynn ice cream.
That's not racist.
Why is that not racist?
Why is it racist?
Well, the whole thing that he came under flack for being like he's basically famous for coming under like a whole racist.
Yeah,
like,
he's a fresh in the pan.
yeah, he.
like so.
Heyo.
So first he's got to deal with the chink in the armor thing. Everyone gets fired. Now he has to deal with the fortune cookie ice cream.
There's more too. There were some articles
Dude,
about how he drives
had
the basketball to the thing, and this is the only good. He's the only good Asian who can drive. the
Yeah.
thing.
That's
That
really-
was
all the Asian
so-
stereotypes
all
were
the
coming out.
Asian
But here's
stereotypes
the
came
thing.
out. It was so.
Here's the
bad.
thing.
That's really racist.
Lynn had to come out to the media to say he didn't care about the ice cream.
Right.
That's fine. I'm cool with
Yeah.
that. I'm just saying it's racist ice cream.
Right.
I'm not trying to protect him. I'm just like, well, that's fucking racist.
Right, but that's
It means that an ice cream for an Asian guy's got to have a fortune cookie in it. So
right.
But
Well,
that's
it's
not
called
true.
Taste the Linsanity.
yeah.
It's like his yes.
Listen, if he made the ice cream, then it would be okay.
Right.
But he didn't make the
Right.
ice cream, so that makes it fucking racist.
I'm not saying what's the big deal, but I am saying when people got fired over it and had to apologize profusely, this is the idea that these people who are judging her are trying to
Yeah.
communicate. You're just
Yeah.
being one of those people
Right.
who makes an issue giant so you can be seen.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that was basically the thing that happened with Lynn is all of these Asian groups came out and finally had visibility. What was it, the AJA?
Yeah,
which
yeah,
drove you
AJA.
fucking
Oh yeah,
nuts.
I was so pissed off. They had like
They
a
were
whole set of
suddenly-
rules of like how you could talk about Lin.
Yeah, no,
Without
about
being-
any Asians.
That's
Well,
really
the
bad.
set of rules that they had was specifically for Lin. You
Right.
cannot use the word drive. You cannot reference him as a chink in the armor, or
Yeah.
like you,
you
can
can't
blah, blah,
mention
blah, blah.
chinks in armor.
Yeah, there was
You
a whole
can't-
bunch that
you
were
can't
just
make
ridiculous.
a reference to driving and how skillful
Yeah,
he may
yeah,
or may
yeah,
not be.
exactly.
They crafted this list
Of
and
course,
then
yeah.
it
and then
was so
publicized it because they had the attention, and that is what these.
AAJA.
My
Yeah.
whole thing is why did they? My whole thing is like why would anyone even care he's Asian? Like,
Yeah.
so
Precisely.
they make a bunch of comments, and I'm like, yeah, that's racist.
Yeah,
It is. The ice cream is too.
right,
You know.
right.
I'm glad he's cool about it.
But do you see?
But I would roll my eyes pretty hard if that was my ice cream. I don't think I would like.
Right.
But I'd be like, really, this is like what the best we can do. I'd
Right.
be like, oh, God.
Right,
We're
and-
really
No,
uncreative
but,
with
but
Asians.
nobody was outraged
Right.
by that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, would you
You
read
know?
that news story and scream? Would you be like, "Fortune cookie pieces and ice cream over an Asian guy? You motherfuckers!"
No, but I'd be disappointed.
You wouldn't do that. Yes, you would have that feeling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
What they're saying is that she is blowing that like that in the world of racism, that is still racism, but it's not the same as an Asian not being hired for a job because she's she's an Asian, right?
Yeah.
Or or a black guy getting arrested because he's black. It's a blip in the enormous, horrible, awful pie of racism.
Yeah.
In the same way, they're trying to say that everything she thinks and feels when they say sexist things to her is the exact same size. It's the tiny-ass little blip in the, I don't know how big sexism pie is. The sexism pie could only be a little bit big.
Yeah.
It doesn't even seem that big to me. And her complaints are the speck of that pie, when in reality they're not. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm still stuck on the ice cream.
Yeah, it is racist.
No, because you said it's not the same as saying like an Asian can't have this kind of job because they're Asian.
Right.
But it leaves the way my mind works is it leaves space for saying, well, I guess maybe Asians can't have ice cream unless it's an Asian ice cream. Like
Yes.
what would yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I fully...
like what would Lynn's sanity have been like maybe if he was white?
And that's-
or just well, it's like saying that this ice cream's gotta be fucking.
Well, and that's what they suggested.
I guess Ben and Jerry's thought the cookie was just a cute little afterthought
It was-
on,
yeah, it was-
on
it
the
was
racist
cute.
comments towards him.
Yeah, it was a cuteness thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to be cute.
It was. Yeah.
Like there's his little chink in the armor, I guess,
Right.
you know, for his cookie flavor. But it's like also like if you dyed the ice cream yellow or something. Or,
It's. Yeah, it was yellow.
like
And
how
little
they-
noodles in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
like a ramen, like a little
Ice
dried-
cream dumplings.
Yeah.
Like, little, like, oh shit!
Oh
I
my
want some
God.
fucking ramen. Okay,
Yeah. No. It.
it's got like a little like ramen flavor pack when you open the like. the
Yeah,
lid.
you just sprinkle it
Like,
on
a
top.
sprinkle.
Right. But like, yeah, it's not fine.
To
But
eat it with chopsticks. I'm sorry.
okay, I give up on this point.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Fish
bro.
cake flakes.
I give
Yeah,
up.
let's
And
move
maybe
on.
I made
Okay.
myself a hypocrite by
Alright.
trying to point to that example.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah,
Well, I did though. I said it.
I
brought
undid
it up.
everything. Well, you also can't speak for all Asians.
Yeah.
Nor could you speak for all women. Now I'm unraveling
Whatever.
everything that we've tried to accomplish tonight. I'm just destroying the whole thing. I don't know how much longer we want to go on, but I do want to read 2 comments by the same person to just illustrate the idiocy of sexism in this country, and it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
These 2 statements are by the exact same person, and they were not particularly far apart from each other, meaning they happened maybe an hour apart. The first statement is, women are different, so they can't be equal. Okay? The second statement is, women are already equal,
Oh,
now
yeah.
they want more. Okay, so which one is true?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, his whole
I
thing was
can't
that
tell.
women do get equal treatment, and like basically the persecution they face, like all that
Which
sexism,
idiotic
they
statement
bring
makes
it
the
on.
other one non-existent? Because they're both stupid.
I think they
and
both become
counter
null.
each other.
They're both
Should
null,
they
just like every
nullify
fucking
each
thing he
other?
said.
Yeah. Is this matter antimatter stupidity, where these two comments hit each other and cease to exist? I wish.
Well, they exploded and they hurt me.
I wish
so.
these two idiots in this comment thing would hit each other and cease to exist.
They're
Yeah.
like they hit each other. They made a star so bright I can't see anymore because I'm like I have a headache.
Of luminous stupidity.
Yeah, like I need like the fucking sunglasses that look into the eclipse for this shit. Like,
Yeah. You need that fucking foil tube. You can't look directly at it.
When we
You
post
gotta
this-
beam the stupid off of walls so it weakens in intensity.
when we post this, we should put like a picture like of those glasses so you can print out and cut it out and wear them while
Yeah,
you read.
while you're
While you
listening.
Very
read,
nice.
Oh my god.
my goodness.
we had a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, at the end it became fun. And I will say this.
Oh yeah, you were called a jihadist. That was
There's
amazing.
a
Oh, yeah.
There's a point where he said, "I listened to your podcast, and good luck with your jihad."
Yeah.
He called me he called me and Travis jihadists, and, at this
And that was
point-
because he read your Facebook and looked at your
Yeah.
your podcast.
Hey,
It was like
thanks.
I was like, "Huh, well, you just like women's issues too much. That was basically what he was saying.
Yeah.
It's like this is just your thing, so
Yeah.
you cannot have a reasonable debate.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm biased. I'm
Yeah.
biased. I want women
He's
to be
not.
equal. My horrible bias. He sees life through the cold lens of reason, which is women can never be equal and they should be in chains. That's the reality.
You got to go
right?
like into his whole Socrates thing.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Because like someone from the forum brought up like a really good point. Like Socrates
Holy
was like,
fuck.
we can't even have an equal structure unless women are happy.
Can we just find his post, and I want to read it verbatim so that you can hear it in pure
Yeah,
unadulterated
I just
form.
wanted to say I started reading these to Andrew, and I wrote that like on here. I was like, my gamer since born roommate was reading this, and he started cracking the fuck up.
'Cause
Like
it's hilarious.
I didn't need to build Andrew up. I just read shit I said and shit they said. He was like, like he just
Yeah.
like melted
Dude,
down.
amazingly stupid. So
And he's not even like an argumentative political person. He was
No.
just like, how do they say that?
yeah.
Jihad,
Hang on, where's
Wait, it's up.
Socrates? It's up.
not a jihadist. It's
You
up,
went down
up. I know. We're
Too
just.
far.
I know.
Scroll.
If I go too far, it's easier.
Scroll.
There, yeah, the next one.
He said, "Live long
This.
and prosper on
I
your
hope he
jihad."
dies.
No, scroll. So we're Vulcan jihadists, basically.
Vulcan jihad.
Yeah, that makes
Here.
sense. Here's what I said. I'm gonna read it verbatim. I'm not gonna change a single fucking word.
My
And
post is actually right
And
before
maybe
his.
I'm wrong. Maybe
Yeah.
he's 100% right about his perspective of Socrates.
Let me move it out of the pink. for you.
Wikipedia doesn't back it up, nor does anyone who's ever read Socrates, but here we go. You know, Socrates actually drank the hemlock as he was ordered to do by the Greeks because he realized the futility of his position. Not that he was wrong, but that in his time the powers that were wouldn't listen to reason. The conventions of argument actually outweighed critical thought. So too do I find myself in this discussion. Knee-jerk reactions are the order of the day, while critical thought is not acceptable because case arguments, like case law, dictate to the masses the appropriate way to respond to questions of society. I might not drink hemlock, and you will see me again,
wish
but
you
for
would.
this discussion,
hope you do.
I leave you to the confusion that by your own words, you have even more firmly embedded in the human psyche.
Fuck.
I just want to take a second before I read his follow-up comments to acknowledge that I am the powers that be, and I am responsible for embedding knowledge in the human psyche. That's
Yeah.
how powerful I am.
You just added to everything.
because I made a comment on an article on the internet. So I just want to acknowledge that power. His follow-up comment. Should I read mine? I don't want to. I don't want to
No,
make myself
don't
seem
do it.
like I'm fucking great. But
Don't
he.
do it.
You smashed him. And then he does a creepy thing. He asks you what your initials are. He basically started trying to find out who
Yeah,
you were
okay,
because he's
okay.
so threatened by you.
Yeah. So he writes with little stars around it, chuckle, like to let me know that he had an aristocrat's laugh.
All I hear is that, yeah, that rich white man.
He's already Socrates, so, you know.
Coming from you, Tabori HK, I will take that last as a compliment. I meet you in the street every day, and you most definitely fit the Aristotelian profile, unfortunately, and your conventions of discussion only confirm that. Nothing I said was Aristotelian, but okay. Just in the same way that nothing you said was Socrates-ish. Socratesian?
Socratic.
Socratic. Until next time, your initials aren't by any chance Jay-Z, honest question there. Well, my initials are Jay-Z. I'm actually, what's his, this joke would work great if I remembered what Jay-Z stood for. The rapper. No, he calls him something Hove. I can't remember. It doesn't matter.
Hove, yeah.
Yeah. J-Hove or whatever. What else? Yeah, now I'm all over the fucking road because I got derailed by my own Jay-Z joke. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, where's the thing that he said that just makes your fucking brain melt? Should I read that whole thing?
No.
It's 2 hours of stupid. He wrote just a text blob that was just, it's made of idiot cum. I think that we should.
I don't
just
know.
leave it here.
The only other thing I can say is that, like, this hit me in a couple places, you know. I'm kind of all for better taste and advancing it, so when I read this, I was, like, really sort of, like, on the... You said it best. This kind of shit creates a boys' club atmosphere, and like I said in my first post, it's really deserved, and it's really sad.
Yeah.
And I'm really sorry that this is like the framework that we've made for ourselves in gaming.
Yeah.
It's really man-children shit.
Yeah.
And I'm really all about eliminating that stuff in nerd culture.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid that nerd culture is sort of a bastion for people who can't develop in certain ways. Anime for sure.
I had this thought
Gaming for sure.
the first day this article
And
was
Eru
out.
said it too.
Yeah, this was a multi-day experience for all of us because it just
need a shower.
it's a downward spiral of obnoxious stupidity. And I had this thought driving home the first day, which was not even the worst day. Yesterday was the worst day. Some of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life were said yesterday on the internet. Shocking, I know. But I had this thought driving home, and it was a sincere thought, and you can label me accordingly, but I had this thought. I thought the most vigorously anti-male feminist deserves the viewpoint she has. She has the right to think exactly what she thinks. She has the right to be 10,000% unfair to everyone of my gender, myself included, because of the society we've put all of them through. I just felt so fucking embarrassed to be a part of this thing that is full of guys exactly like this, because he's not the only one. He's far from the only one. And the most militant feminist is 100% right, in my opinion. 100%. Because we have made you live a life in our shitty boys club system.
But for the record, I don't agree with that.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't either, but
I understand where that comes from.
That's fine. That was an
you know.
emotional response that I had to this.
Right.
And whatever that says about my character, so be it. But I actually felt real shame. And not real
I agree with
shame
that.
to
I
just
felt
make
it for
myself
your gender,
better as
too.
a person.
I felt it, yeah.
I was actually I felt a little bit fucking bad to be associated at all.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
You know, I want this to go away. I really
do.
do. You know, I want this to go away because it affects people that matter to me on a daily fucking basis. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it, and it doesn't affect me directly. I'm tired of it. So imagine being born into it and having to get used to it. It's insane to me. It's completely insane to me. And it's 2012. I can't remember at this point how many times me and Felicia said to ourselves or each other, it's 2012. I can't believe I'm reading this. I can't believe people are saying this.
Yeah.
I can't believe people think this.
I think this is America and this is what's going on. I can't believe this. Like, I thought I left Malaysia to come to, like, the land of where everything is, you know, equal and, you know, people are...
There's idiots everywhere,
Are
you know.
liberated and people are
Yeah.
willing to accept different perspectives. Woo, yay!
Yeah.
What?
It must be a very warm experience to know there are people just like the men that you
Yeah.
left in your shitty
Yes.
country here
Yeah.
that are angry that it's not that way.
Yeah, he'd
Yeah.
fit. Some of these guys, if having been raised in that environment, would have fit right in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They didn't even have to be raised in that environment. They already fit that
Yeah,
those criteria.
you want to
the
talk
criterias.
about the slippery slope?
Yeah.
That's the slippery slope.
Yeah.
First, they
Bullshit.
take your rights away. Then they take your fucking dignity away.
Yeah.
Until you're wearing a fucking biohazard suit walking through your life, because God forbid a man see your fucking earlobe, he'll have to fucking rape you, and it's your fault.
Yeah.
You said a good thing earlier. You said we need to stop treating women as sex objects just because we have sex with them.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the logic of a lot of boys.
Yes.
I'm kind of in the middle as far as like the whole masculinity thing goes, and I try and like really like figure myself out all the time, and I know like a lot of really great guys, and I know a lot of great dudes, and some of them are bros, but I can't do the bro thing,
No.
you know. So
No.
I also have to like identify with my way of thinking too. Like
Yeah.
I have to stick up for that too, you know. Like, but men are so overwhelming for me sometimes. Guy energy is really heavy and really nutty for me to be around.
It's
And
really unsophisticated.
I'm not like a really metro dude. Like I'm a
No.
dude for sure. Like I'm way more dude than I am girl. But like something about me is kind of like even, and I can't be like around a lot of guys. I sometimes it happens, and I don't get them. And this is how a lot of them have to figure out how to think to justify their hormones and shit. Like I said earlier, like I was getting a sense that there's like a residual guilt. Like I want to know like what really are they? Why are they trying so hard? I bet it's like an even combination between the whole being defensive of gaming, and so when someone tells you that something's childish, you go, no, don't take this from me. I'm going to defend gaming. I'm going to defend the booth babes. So I think the other part of it is they're trying to justify like some kind of subconscious thing going on. Like there's guilt. Like they don't
I'm gonna
want to
make-
admit
yeah.
that they
Yeah,
are
yeah.
comfortable in this sexist culture because it empowers them.
I'm gonna make them way more noble than probably a lot of them are for a second, and say that I don't think they want to realize how sexist the system is, because they will be horrified that they silently supported it. You know?
Yeah.
That they are a direct part of the problem.
I've read some really interesting forums that all had to do with sex, where guys are allowed to say whatever they want, and what's really going on in dudes' heads is insane when they're finally allowed to admit it. So I know when they try and sound smart, when they're not just being honest,
They're repressing
it's
something
all
nuts.
repressed. Yeah,
That's
they're
why
re-
you just keep them
they're
talking.
they're very used to keeping women in the box. They like the
Yeah.
box. They're okay with their mothers,
Right.
you know, and they're okay with having sex with their girlfriends.
Right.
But they don't want them to have as much power as they're used to, and that wasn't something they decided. Nobody like decides that stance. It's
No.
just a boy thing that you get used to. It's a power thing.
Yeah.
Everyone feels privileged or
Yeah.
entitled to a certain degree. And a lot of these people aren't fucking real adults. They're sheltered. They don't.
Yeah. They get the gift of not having to think about it.
And especially because they consider themselves intellectuals. I think
It's the worst.
I think I yeah, it's something I was talking about with Andrew. I think acknowledging women's problems is to intellectually acknowledge them. I think maybe if they're not outwardly sexist, they're so like faux intellectual that they're not willing to give respect. And respect means intellectually respect. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like leveling with,
Right.
and they don't want to. They don't want to intellectually
Respect requires you to admit your own limitations and wrongness.
So they try and use this
possibility of
reasoning to
wrongness.
keep them down.
Yes.
And it's false.
Yes.
It's dishonest. It's really dishonest arguments, like all through the thread.
It's why I attack viciously like a fucking dog, because I can't help it. That level of dishonesty with yourself and with everyone else.
Yeah.
And you are asking me to treat your dishonesty like it's not that.
Yeah, like it wasn't that. And that's
And
what it
then
was
you
the
get
whole time.
frustrated
I
when
wanted
I-
them to say what was really on their minds. I wanted them to say, like, what is really bothering you about the Booth Babe issue?
Yeah.
It's not all your dumb little points you're bringing up, just to be
No.
contrary.
Yeah. This is just frosting for your fucking asshole cake. Just is.
It's great.
As far as masculinity goes, as I grow older, and I'm not old, but I'm older than I was last year, and I'm different than I was last year and the year before that, increasingly I find myself rejecting the standard masculinity, what masculinity is considered.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, and maybe this is what masculinity really is or is not, but for me, my concept of masculinity as it applies to me and how I display it is respecting my counterpart, which is women. To me, what makes you a man is to be able to stand next to a woman and be equal with them, to give them equal regard, to let them stand or fall on their own and respect them, to like say, hey, me and you are up at this level together, and if they fall, then they fall. It's on the individual. But to not fucking have them in this fucking little tiny box,
The girl box.
of where, yeah, like a, lay in the cat bed
Yeah, and
You're my pet.
I would totally agree that a lot of girls keep themselves in the girl box, but boys keep themselves in the boy box, and that's how they interact. And that's the classic interaction, and it works really well.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But there's a lot. I think there's like a whole other half of the coin where people aren't functioning in that way with each other. So they're ready to walk
Absolutely.
forward.
You know, my entire relationship with Felicia, I've learned things. You know, going through it. I'm going to continue to learn things. That is the nature of the thing. And the thing that makes everything the thing that makes everything for me possible in a relationship and even likely is that I'm open to viewing it through eyes that are not my own. When Felicia says, "Hey, you're seeing it this way," I don't just go, "That's not what I see," or
Or not what I said,
What I
even,
see is
yeah.
reality, and what you see is your twist of my reality. We always have the ability to have a fucking dialogue about something, and that doesn't mean we always agree with each other. But I know how to disagree with her, and I know, like, if not in that moment, then in time, and not a lot of time, to spend time apart, considering the things that I've heard and going, you know, retouching upon my own viewpoints, and going, well, is this real? Is what I think real? Is what she's saying in this case more more akin to what the reality is?
Yeah.
And to me, that is what a man should be. A man should be constantly questioning and reevaluating his thoughts and feelings and considering the thoughts and feelings of other and trying to create a broader context for himself. And my idea for what a woman is not different. It's the exact same thing. You know, just because I'm a man and a heterosexual man, the same thing applies to guys who are with guys and girls who are with girls. We're all human beings together. And your goal as a human being should to become a better human being for your entire fucking life. That is your goal. You're just getting better and better and better and better. And you are enriching the lives of people around you, and you're being enriched by those lives. It's Star Trek shit, I know. And now I'm babbling.
You're very touching.
I'm babbling fucking fake touchy-feely shit. This is what I really believe, but I'll cut it short because I could do that for 10 fucking minutes.
We did good, I guess.
I really think we have covered this topic now.
Wow.
This was not the way that I think I definitely didn't intend to approach it this way. And Travis, I don't think you intended to approach it this way. But then this thing in real life happened, and we had no choice. You know. On Monday, I had a very different opinion about the proliferation of sexism in gaming. A very different opinion.
I don't
You
know.
did too.
We should probably share this podcast.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't know.
I'd love to just send this to the author.
You know, I don't know.
I don't
I
think
would.
they will appreciate it.
Why not?
unfortunately.
We didn't spend the whole time just making fun of the author. I think we broke this down.
I would like people who choose to listen to this to make their own opinion about it and not just agree with us because we have passion. And I do not want the author to think that this is our way of out-moraling him. You know, of like, here, we made this, and you gotta listen to it.
No.
I'm
No,
not
no,
saying
no.
that that's what you're
No,
saying.
I don't. I got the
but I'm
I got
very
the impression
sensitive to that feeling. You know what I'm
like,
saying?
yeah, I know, but still, I got the impression that the author, especially when he chimed in at the end, is a reasonable person. I
Yes.
just feel like he was being
Absolutely.
really careless
Yes.
on a very male site. I feel like he felt probably enabled being on such a male-oriented site because it's just the articles that are already on it and stuff.
Yes.
And then
I would agree with that.
you know, and then I feel like
100%.
especially when these guys have to write these articles, it's really hard for them to take back points.
Right.
They're just like they're gonna not do it, and then they have a team. You know, I mean, I honestly would like to have him like email me back if I sent him this, like just to talk. So
You can try. You certainly can try.
I think we were like reasonable with what our opinions. So.
Well, everyone thinks their opinion is reasonable. That's what we learned. Everyone thinks that their view is totally the normal view, and everyone else is crazy.
yeah, I can see to that. So whatever.
All right, well,
Whatever.
you know, I don't know how much more we got in this.
downloadable
so,
conflict.
We'll say this has been Downloadable Conflict, or the Travis, Brian,
And
and Felicia Fun Time Hour.
You too.
Me too.
You too.
I had a lot of fun. I hope.
This has been the soul-crushing hour for me.
Yeah. The soul crushing 2 hours.
Yeah, 2
The
hours.
soul crushing 4 days. I don't know.
This needs like a good outro.
Yeah, you know what? I've been thinking about that for the past 2 days. I just want the angriest pro-feministist song that we can have. I want a song that makes all men uncomfortable. I want to listen to it and cringe myself. And I don't know what that song is.
I was thinking going the other way, like a really sad guy song, like a blues, like a really like a.
Should cut to like
that
the
bitch
Big
left
Lebowski
me.
meal. Vagina.
Yeah.
Does it make you uncomfortable? Vagina.
Vagina.
He's like, no.
Well, see, that's exactly what, like, you know, I want this to be the fucking, this podcast is about trying to get the message out that women need to be empowered. So, I don't know. We could
This
do it either way.
podcast is very vaginal.
Yes. I want this podcast to be vaginal. So yeah.
Speaking of the dude's a man, by the way.
The dude is so the man.
Yeah,
I
and that's
love
gamers
the
be the dude.
Yeah, everyone should be the dude. I think that's what we should.
Vaginas.
Don't be Jesus. Be the dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be the dude. Be real.
And I mean Jesus the bowler.
I know. Nobody fucks with the Jesus.
He's a fucking pedophile, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking 7-year-olds, dude. So we could keep quoting the Big Lebowski for the next 7 minutes, or
I don't want to do that.
just wrap it up. I don't know. I'm really interested to hear, and I'm going to say this when I post this too. I'm really interested to hear. Actually, I'm not interested. I don't care. Felicia, if you want to be a part of this podcast or any episode, I want you to feel like you can be a part of this
Sure.
podcast.
Alright.
I obviously value your voice. And I'm not going to leave it up to male viewers to decide if you are adequate enough to hear. So
Well, you know, I very.
I'm formally
Might
extending. Yeah, well,
They asked for you in this case.
yes,
All right.
I'm clamoring for you.
Well, if I'm relevant to the discussion, yes, I
You're
will join.
relevant to all discussion.
You're always
Because you're a
relevant.
gamer too.
And you're a girl.
And I have a vagina.
A
Vagina.
Vagina.
Okay,
And then
so
we're gonna need a black
Alright.
person and
Yeah.
a guy in a wheelchair on
we
the
got
podcast.
Lucio. We gotta bring in Lucio and
Oh, I
push him
almost
down
made
a
it
flight
back.
of stairs first. What did you almost say? What did you almost say? Let's treat women better podcast with what you were about
0%.
to say. Lean into that mic and fucking say it.
Nope.
He scares easily. It makes him so angry at me. And his head spins around just like the exorcist. And I find it ever so hard to resist his cries. But there's nothing more sadistic than an infant waving his pistol in my face. He wants me right down on my knees, crumbling in disgrace. But he underestimates my mind. I know he's messing with my head. My only weakness is I can't believe the guy could be entirely dead. Can't talk to a psycho like a normal human being. Can't talk to a psycho like a normal human being. Trigger happy jacket gonna blow, but I'm gonna get off before you go. My trigger happy jacket's just a drive-by. Go, go, go. Go, go. And after a while he calms down and he looks at me like a prince. But I know I better bite the bullet, cause it's just another one of his Jedi mind tricks. But this ain't no head trip, honey. This is a collision on the road. And you got me feeling just like a roadkill. And you know deep down I know you can't talk to a psycho like a normal human being. Can't talk to a psycho like a normal human being. Trigger happy jacket gonna blow, but I'm gonna get off before you go. My trigger happy jacket's just a drive-by. Oh, go, go. Why do you make me feel like this? Why do you gotta be such a dick? Why do you make but I hate him just enough to get off. But I understand him. Maybe I'm just crazy enough to love him. Why not? Why not? Oh! You can't talk to a psycho like a normal human being. You can't talk to a psycho like a normal human being. You can't talk to a psycho like a normal human being. You can't talk to a psycho like a normal human being. You can't talk to a psycho like a normal